officers from BMC, to Mr. Lalit Kapoor and Mr. Ajay Mittal, who has accompanied it. I'll just introduce him and give a brief background of that. But before that, we want to, just as a token of our gratitude for coming here, we just want to give a small flower bouquet and welcome Mr. Kapoor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you.
This is a small.
Oh, how nice! Beautiful.
Office to be enjoyed.
Yes. Thank you. I love this building. You know, always. Thank you so much. Can you put it on the side? Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay.
And William, you will welcome Mr. Mittal also. Yeah. So I'll just give a brief background for this program, why we are here. Mr. Lalit Kapoor, he is 1971 graduate of IIT Kanpur and MBA from University of California, Los Angeles. He is a successful entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, and while he was having his achievements in his career, he also developed the age-old lifestyle diseases, which we all do. But then he decided to reverse these diseases by changing diet and lifestyle. And I thought that this was very, very important for all of us here as well. And this led, being an engineer from IIT, he did a scientific inquiry into all this, and this led him to study and research the field of nutrition and the works of giants in the plant-based whole food field, like Dr. Colin Campbell, Dr. John McDougall, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. Michael Greger, and Dr. Dean Ornish. And there are many others. And he successfully got rid of all his chronic diseases like blood pressure, diabetes, gout, hypothyroidism, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea, obesity. And we assume that these are lifestyle diseases and we encounter them after a certain age and we have to live with them and we have to live on pills. But that is something which he has challenged. And after that, once he himself experienced it, he started propagating that, and he became an inspiration for his own IIT Kanpur batchmates. He started a WhatsApp group with them to guide them about his learnings, and many benefited and successfully reversed their chronic diseases in a very short span of time. And after that, the word spread. The number of social media groups also kept increasing. Now I guess he has over 30,000 active members in 45 countries and thousands of success stories. He runs over 60 social media groups and he keeps guiding people. I was one of the beneficiaries of these groups. I got to know about him through my IIS batchmates who were also from IIT Kanpur, and this is how I joined his group a few months back. Although yet I don't have any chronic disease to reverse, but I thought I joined his group at the right moment. And many myths he would burst. You will see throughout his presentation. And I think we ourselves have experienced that how being healthy is important for us. These are all senior officers from BMC, which is one of the front runner on all issues in civic issues in Mumbai. And please. He's my colleague, Sanjeev.
Hello.
He's also an IAS officer. You must have heard about him because in IAS groups only a lot of talk is happening about Mr. Kapoor. So, and we have seen that how important health is, and especially during COVID, we thought how comorbid people got the worst hit. We have also lost some of our precious colleagues, and every one of us faces some or, and even recent past, without COVID also we have lost some of our colleagues at a very, very early age. And I thought in such a high stressed and demanding job, we need to pay attention to our health, and there is no reason to assume that we are going to get these diseases and we have to manage them only with pills. There are other ways of doing it, and these are very simple ways. The only thing is we don't make those scientific inquiries because food is associated with a lot of conventions, our family histories and what is cooked, and we don't pay attention to it as some kind of a scientific requirement. We don't do those inquiries. So fortunately we are here with Lalit ji, who has done his own research. So we just have to learn it from him. We don't have to do anything else. And I myself am very impressed with the way he explains it. So I thought whatever benefits I have reaped, they should be shared with all my colleagues. And fortunately, he was on India too, and he was going to be in Mumbai. So I just requested him whether he could have a special session with BMC officers, which he very graciously agreed. So we are thankful to him. And I hope we enjoy his talk, and there will be of course a question answer session, so we can raise those questions also. Thank you, Lalit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words. I just want to talk a few minutes and then I'll go there and give you the presentation. You know, we all think, we have come to believe that as we grow old, we should expect some diseases. You know, people think, okay, in fact, it's very common. People say, well, ab age ke saath kuch na kuch to ho gayi, you know, kind of thing. But it is not true. You know, we think by 60, 65, little bit of arthritis, a little bit of asthma, a little blood pressure, you know, that this should be expected, which is wrong. 20 years ago, National Geographic asked one of their teams to go around the world and find people who live the longest. That study resulted in areas they called blue zones. So in blue zones, they found that people live to be 95, 100, 105 without any illnesses. Yeah, they die one day, I mean, but the day they died, till that morning, they were working fine. They were still going to the garden, picking up vegetable, still going to church or temple or whatever. The point is that you should not have to have a disease at the time that you die, okay? We have somehow developed this impression that if you are 65, 70-year-old, you should have some diseases. And the problem there is that we have a myth. A lot of people, wise people say, well, consume everything in moderation. The problem is when you consume everything in moderation, you develop disease in moderation. So your disease is not so severe that you have to go to intensive unit hospital, but you have blood pressure, you have blood sugar problem, you take medication for that, you have some cholesterol problem, a little bit of arthritis, a little bit of asthma. You think that these are normal. They're not normal. I'm telling you, all of you here, that if you have any disease, and you know, this is a very mature group. People are successful people of the community. You are highly qualified people. So you will learn that disease does not have to happen. Death will happen, but your last 5, 10 years of your life will be very peaceful without any disease. That's what the interest is. That's what I'm going to talk about, okay? So I had developed, by the age of 63, you know, I was successful financially, sold the company that everybody dreams of, but I had blood pressure, which was diagnosed at the age of 48. I was diagnosed diabetes at the age of 50. Then I was diagnosed by hypothyroidism. A lot of people take thyroid medication, you know. And then it was gout, a pain in your big toe. I don't know if some of you are familiar. Gout pain is very painful. In fact, gout started because I came to Bombay after selling my company. So, you know, all of a sudden when you have more money, you say, okay, just enjoy. So there's a restaurant out here in Bandra, and they serve what you call king prawn, you know. They only serve one prawn in a plate, and this used to be that time 800, 900 rupees. So I said, oh, why not 2? Why not 3? You know, if food is good, like it, so I would have 2, 3 prawns, and then with some drinks, you know, chicken or malai kebab or whatever kind of things. And then I was flying back to America. I developed a pain in my toe, big toe. I reached home and I put my toe in hot water, cold water, nothing worked. And then I went to see a sports medicine doctor, and he said, You don't have any sports problem. You have a gout. I had never heard of gout. Now, gout is a disease that rich people used to get. The kings and queens used to get gout. You see a lot of Renaissance paintings. In the painting, they show that the king is sitting, French paintings, and his feet are hurting. And there are people bandaging his feet or something. Many paintings are there. So these diseases of affluence, they come as we are successful in life. We just start enjoying. We think we're doing the right thing, but we are not. And that's what we're going to talk about, okay? So I'm going to go over there and continue with this discussion. I need a remote. Okay, so before I start, I want to share one testimonial. And here is a girl, 29-year-old. Can you hear me fine? Okay. So she works in Silicon Valley. And this is her picture in July of 2020. And that's her picture in February of 2022. So you can see that in about a year and a half, she has transformed herself. You know, she's not married, she's still single. Initially, her body mass index that tells you how much overweight you are. You know, a good range for body mass index is between 18.5 and 25. That's a good range, okay? It is a formula where you take your weight divided by height. So your weight in kilograms and divided by the cube of your height. So it's an indication of how healthy you are. So 25 is considered the limit. If you're over 25, you are considered overweight, okay? If it is over 30, you are considered obese. If it is over 35, you are considered severely obese. And if it is over 40, you are considered morbidly obese. Morbidly obese means your death is going to come much sooner than what it should. Okay, so hers was 44. Okay, and she lost 100 pounds in 18 months. And that is what she looks now. Now the thing is, when you are so morbidly obese, your confidence goes down. You know, people don't like you. You feel isolated, and you don't have as many friends. And now her level of confidence is tremendous. You know, so this is what happens. But she did not have to diet. Please understand. Dieting means you eat less does not work. It's a mistake when people tell you that eat less. Because how long can you eat less? You can do it for 1 week, 2 weeks. You cannot live your life eating less. You eat as much as you feel like. So the nature has designed our bodies in such a way that we should eat what is right for us. But somehow we are now overeating, and I'll explain to you why that is going on. But this is just a testimonial. She was pre-diabetic. She is no more pre-diabetic. She has high blood pressure. A lot of people suffer from high blood pressure. After they're 45, she had high blood pressure at the age of 28. She had Gerd. Gerd is a disease we call acidity. Khatti dakarein aati hain, you know. A lot of people suffer from Gerd. Gerd is an English word, but khatti dakar or acidity we call it. It's a very common problem in India. In fact, a lot of people in my groups, and she said 30,000, I exceeded 40,000 as of 2 weeks ago, okay. So they complain that I have acidity. What should I do? And then she has sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is when you snore very loud, and while you're sleeping, you stop breathing. You for a fraction, for 3-4 seconds, you don't breathe, and then all of a sudden you start breathing again. So sleep apnea is very harmful because it disrupts your sleep, your cycle of deep sleep. Deep sleep is very important for our brain to detoxify, you know, to remove the waste from the brain. When we don't have healthy brain and healthy detoxification, we develop diseases of the brain, like dementia. The people forget short-term memories, or Alzheimer. Okay, so these are the kind of diseases we develop, and this is just one example. And I have hundreds of people like that who did not reduce their eating. They kept eating as much as they wanted to eat. The key is, what are you eating? And when are you eating? All these issues come into play. A lot of people worry about what you are eating, but they don't worry about when you are eating. And I will show you how those things matter. Okay? Okay, so here is an example. The two people go out for vacation for 1 week or 2 weeks. When they come back, they find that their kitchen is flooded because the sink is overflowing. So what happens? The sink is clogged, and sink gets clogged because if you are cooking and you put grease, and then the grease or desi ghee even freezes in cold temperature. And then people who eat meat, they put grease into the sink, then they go for vacation, they turn off the central heating. When temperature comes down, the drainage gets clogged because the fat freezes, you know. So if you have coconut oil, you put it in and the temperature goes down, it'll freeze immediately. So they, when they come back home, they see that the kitchen is flooded with water, and they get busy mopping the floor. They're not thinking that let me turn the tap off, isn't it? The first thing you should do is turn the tap off. That is causing the flooding. Second thing you should do is unclog the sink. So they're not paying attention to closing the tap or unclogging the sink. They're only focusing on the symptom. Symptom was water on the floor. That is how we live our life. When we have a problem, we do not try to understand what caused the problem. We are busy reducing the blood pressure. Blood pressure is a message that is coming to you. They listen, you're 48-year-old, 49-year-old, something you're not doing right. That's why you have high blood pressure. Blood pressure, high blood pressure is a messenger giving you a message, and you kill the messenger. You immediately go to the doctor, doctor says, hey, take this medication, beta blocker, or whatever, it'll bring your blood pressure down. Blood pressure is not the problem. The problem is the food that you're eating, which is making the blood pressure go high. Similarly, blood sugar. When you go to doctor, your blood sugar goes up, he immediately says, take this medication. That medication is not the problem. The medication is going to just reduce the blood sugar, but not correct. So this is what we go through life. This is what the modern medicine is doing, okay? And it's the wrong thing. And we keep taking that medicine, and all medicine have side effects. So when you take medicine, some other problem comes up. So once you start on medication, you take medicine A for one problem, it causes side effects. Then you go to doctor, he gives you medicine B. Then after a few months, you have another problem, it gives you medicine C. And suddenly you realize that within 10 years, you're taking 5, 6 medications. I was taking 5 medications at the age of 63, okay? And the doctors wanted to put me on 2 more medications. There's a medication called statins, okay, to reduce cholesterol. And my doctor was so confident, he said, if you are diabetic, you will develop heart attack. Why was he confident? Because that diabetic drug causes you to develop heart attack. So in 2004, one of the medication, Avendia, was stopped because the research shows the people who were taking that diabetic medication were developing heart attack. And then so the doctor changed that to Actos, okay? And within 3 years, they also research found out that all those who are taking Actos are also dying out of heart attack. So medication for one disease causes other diseases. And then doctors give you the third medication. So it's a spiral of death. Once you have caught, whenever that is, I don't know, okay, at the age of 45, generally, I mean, hers was an example I gave earlier was exception. Okay, she was exceptionally fat. And she tells us, she said, I used to love cheese. and potato chips and Coke. I just love drinking Coke, and I had no idea Coke is, I shouldn't say Coke, beverages, okay? That's called beverages. I had no idea these beverages are so harmful. The cheese, pizza, you love pizza, eating pizzas. So let's talk about now why these diseases happen. That's what we're going to discuss today, okay? And that let's not kill the messenger. Let's try and figure out what is going wrong, what is the true cause of it. If once you know true cause, you know how to correct it. So before we go to that discussion, some general discussion here, okay? So one discussion, we already talked, why not turn off the faucet, okay? Instead of mopping the floor, let's turn off the faucet, number one thing. Second thing is, 100 years ago, in 1928, they discovered penicillin. Penicillin is an antibiotic. At that time, our major diseases were, infectious diseases. And cholera, typhoid, smallpox, polio, these were our problems, okay? We didn't have heart attacks that much. Very few people would have heart attacks or diabetes, very few. So to fight these problems, they discovered penicillin, antibiotics, and after that, for any health issue, they would just give you antibiotics and you will be fine within a week. So the whole generation, which was born after 1925, or who were in their teens or 20s at the time, we developed a psyche, when ill, just take a pill. Even today, a lot of people, when they're ill, they go to a doctor and they spend whatever 500 rupees, 800 rupees. If the doctor does not give you a pill, you get upset. कि 800 रुपए खर्च भी किए और दवाई भी नहीं बताई. It is our fault also. The fault of doctor, because most doctors will give you, this is the medication, move on. They don't have time to talk to you. They have a line of patients. So you come in, sees your blood pressure and blood report. They don't talk to you, what you eat. 100 years ago, when you went to a doctor, Hakim or Vaid, or different types of doctors, they ask you, आप क्या खाते हो? आप मॉर्निंग में कितना सोते हो? मॉर्निंग में जब आप जाते हो बाथरूम तो कैसा आपका मल होता है? Those kind of things. They don't do that anymore. When that Hakim or Vaid would give you some pudiya, powdered white powder, maybe 7 packets. And then he would say कि भाई रोज एक पैकेट लेना, लेकिन एक प्याला स्पिनच के साथ लेना, है ना? तो पालक के साथ. और जब तक ये ले रहे हो, तब तक तुम दूध नहीं पीना एक हफ्ते. Patient gets better within a week. So then the question is this, did he get better because of that white powder, or because he ate spinach for a week, or because he avoided dairy, milk and yogurt for a week? And most likely, the patient recovered because of those two things and not because of the white powder. So this take a pill when ill is flawed thinking. It does not work. And when we develop chronic diseases, what we call lifestyle diseases, it did not work. See, it did not work, okay? Lifestyle diseases became very common after Second World War. The countries became affluent. There was plenty of food available. During war, food was not available during 1940-45 period. So now all of a sudden, plenty of food was available. And they started developing blood pressure, blood sugar, heart problems. But the pill did not work. So what did they say? These are lifestyle diseases. They are incurable. That is what doctors tell you, that these diseases are incurable. But we will help you manage it. It's totally wrong. All lifestyle diseases are curable. They're caused by your diet and lifestyle. So if you change your diet and lifestyle, the disease goes away. Okay? And I have thousands of people who prove that. So you just have to understand what in the diet is causing me problem and what is wrong with my lifestyle. That's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Now there's a saying here, the wise knows nothing and fool knows it all. It's a quotation by Shakespeare. So what I'm trying to point here is that whenever there is a new research and we learn something new, okay, there's new invention, there is two types of responses. Some people say, aha, finally I know everything. Okay, till yesterday I didn't, now I know everything. They're a little cocky, you know, I know it. There's another wise people, their response is, they feel humbled. Okay, this is another proof that what we know is very little. What is there to be known and what we know, so what we know is so small compared to what is there to be known. There are a lot of things we do not know. We will discover them tomorrow or in another 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. In 1869, one Russian chemist, Dmitri was his name, he developed what we call table of elements. I'm sure all of you during the 7th or 8th grade must have learned table of elements. When Dmitri created that, he had 28 elements there, only 28. When I was studying in 7th, 8th grade, there were 100 elements. And today we know 118 elements. They have already named the 119. They're hoping to find it very soon. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is that at any time, there's so many things which are not yet known. Okay? So not yet known, N-Y known. I call them 9 knowns. So there are 9 knowns that we don't know about. So to think that we know everything is wrong. Okay? The thing is, proof is in the pudding. To theoretically, you cannot say that this will be good for you. I want to tell you that 7 decades ago, 6, 7 decades ago, these companies that make formula milk for young children, okay, formula milk, baby formula, they became so overconfident that they said we should feed only formula milk and not mother's milk. Because mother's milk does not have enough protein, does not have enough calcium. That's what they were pushing. And I'm so glad that people did not accept that. But that's what they were proving. And then in my case, I have these thousands of people who are curing. They cure within 1 week. The heart patients, people who have asthma problem, who say, I cannot walk more than 20 yards without a pump. They say within a second day, they're able to walk 30 yards. By end of 1 week, they're able to walk 100 yards. That fast it happens. Okay? It happens within days. In fact, it happens within hours. Okay? And we'll talk about that. So the proof is in the pudding. Proof is not in that theoretical knowledge. And don't because theoretical knowledge is incomplete. There are a lot of things we do not know. So that theoretical knowledge is incomplete. Now let's talk about human evolution. You know, we evolved over millions of years. Okay? Now we used to jump from one tree to another. And we ate fruits because there were fruits on the trees. Trees have fruits. Mostly fruits, some dry fruits. Nuts, not dry fruit. Nuts is the right way to say that. In India we call nuts also dry fruits. But dry fruits are kishmish and apricots. But nuts are tree nuts. So we were jumping in African Sahara. It was not desert at that time. It was lush and green and trees were very close to each other. So we jumped from one tree to another. You could go miles just not coming down. Because coming down was risky. There were predators, there were animals who might kill us. There were tigers or panthers or lions, okay? So we considered it safe to just go from one tree to another to another. As the climate changed, the trees became further apart. And it got to a point where we could not jump from one tree to another. So we had to come down and walk few steps and climb up again. So the number of steps we walked slowly started increasing. So when you walk, you are scared that there might be a tiger or lion hidden there. So you walk on all your 4 and then you get up and see, oh, then you run again. That's how we evolved, okay? So then because we used to walk up, then we started walking up because you're so scared, you don't want to walk on 4, you walk up like this, making sure there's no tiger. And we became what we are today, okay? We walk on 2 legs. So what did we eat? We ate fruits for millions of years, so our body loves fruits. If you eat an apple, body says, I know this, I've been eating it for 10 million years. You know. When you eat gajars, so then when they came to the ground, they started eating roots, which called kandamul, all kinds of roots. Potatoes are roots, shakarkandi is root, tapioca, sabudana is a root. We started eating roots. So when you eat roots, potatoes, body loves it. So aloo, I love aloo. Body says, I've eaten it for 20 million years, okay. Then they started finding some grains, some rice, wild rice, some wild wheat or millet, and so that's how we evolved. The point is, our body got accustomed to certain foods. When body sees those foods, it knows what to do with it. Believe me, your body has all the doctors inside you. All specialist doctors are there. There's a team of 20, 30 doctors. They know what to do. They don't know what to feed you because that you are doing. But once you have eaten, the doctor knows what is best for you. There are billions of chemical reactions going on. Science knows very little. Science today knows very little, okay. There are 30 trillion cells we have in our body. 30 trillion cells. But you know something that we didn't know till 20 years ago? Because they did a project called Genome Project. They wanted to map all the human genes. While they were doing Genome Project, they found that there were human genes and then there were a lot of foreign genes. Foreign genes were there because in our gut, in our large intestine, in our colon, we have 38 trillion foreign cells. They are not our cells. They're foreign cells. They are bacteria, they are viruses, they are fungus, okay. So our body, genetically, we are very similar, two people. But our gut microbiome, we call it microbiome or microbiota, is very different. So if some medicine works for person A, it may not work for person B. Okay. So same deficiency, if the deficiency is same, it manifests differently in two people, three people. One person may get headache because of that deficiency, other person may get an upset stomach. So by looking at your symptoms, I cannot say what is the deficiency. It is a hit and miss. You come to my hospital, I'm a doctor, I say this headache, okay, so maybe you lack this, maybe you lack this. Of course, now they get a report. So they look at the report, they don't even talk to you. Look at it, oh, you're short in this, have this medication, have this supplement. It's totally wrong. Things don't work like that, okay? Because same deficiency can cause different symptoms in many people. Or sometimes different deficiencies can cause same symptom. So upset stomach is a symptom which can be due to many causes. So how would you know what is causing it? Okay. And then there's so many unknowns. When you do a blood test, you can only know about maybe 12 vitamins. What about the 10 vitamins which are not yet discovered? We'll find out about in 10 years or 15 years. 100 years from now, instead of 12 vitamins, we may have 50 vitamins. So taking supplements does not work because you can only take supplement that you know about. When you eat food, it has everything in it, even though you may not know about it. You know, I have eaten this food for a very long time, the food is fine. So the food is what cures you, and that's what we're going to discuss, okay. So briefly, a few discussions here. I talked earlier that everything in moderation is a wrong advice. A lot of people, they pretend to be very wise, you know, old age, say, but I eat everything in moderation. No. When you eat everything in moderation, you develop disease in moderation. And you attribute it to old age problems. There's nothing like old age problem. You should live till you die energetic, okay? I used to, at the age of 63, it became difficult for me to walk beyond 5 miles, 8 kilometers. So on a Saturday, if I walk 5 miles, on Sunday, my legs will hurt, okay? And every day, I would only walk 2 miles. That also sometimes I'll skip, okay? And then I started noticing as I changed in 2013, that I was able to walk more and more. And I could walk 6 miles, and then 7 miles, and 8 miles. And it got to the point in 2019, I walked half a marathon, 13.2 miles. And the next day, there was no pain in the body. That's the point I'm trying to emphasize. You find that there's so much energy that you don't feel tired. Normally, we would go for sometime vacation, long drive. So after 5-6 hours of drive, we would say, अब कहीं चाय मिल जाए, you're feeling tired. अगर इंडिया में होते तो चाय और समोसे मिल जाते. You feel. Now I drive. I keep driving 10-11 hours. I don't feel tired. Just keep drinking water because the tea I don't take anymore. So there's no more addiction, no more problem. Okay. So everything in moderation does not work. Now let's talk about the protein myth. We all have been told to eat more protein. Okay. We have been told by our parents or our grandparents. My grandfather, when I was 8-9 years old, 8, 9, 10, would insist during summer vacation when we visited our Nanihal, ki Lalit, you must have a glass of milk with 1 raw egg. They took out the white part and only raw egg. And I had to take that because I respected my grandfather, my Nanaji, a lot. But what I know today, both the things are very harmful for you. So because he thought the young growing age, the person needs more protein, which is a myth. Please understand, this is the one thing if you can learn today, you would have learned a lot. You only need the protein which is in mother's milk when mother has a child. When mother has a child, nature or God has given her milk that she feeds the child, she nurses the child. And they found out that mother's milk only has 5 to 6% protein, 5 to 6% as a percentage of total calories. So if their total calories are 200, then only 10 or 12 calories are coming from protein. So if mother's milk has only 5 to 6% protein, designed for a child which is growing very rapidly, because the fastest growth cycle is a newborn child. A 6-7 pound child becomes 14 pound in 4 months. Okay. So if Mother Nature or God created only 5 to 6% protein, as we grow up, why should we eat more? So it is being pushed by the industry in America, and then we have always followed what they taught you in America. We thought the Americans know everything. Okay. US government established in 1947 based on research done by government, not by private industry, which have some different agenda, that we need minimum 5 to 6% protein in our diet. Okay, percentage protein. But they were so concerned that maybe some people may need more. So they said, okay, so you can have 8%. 8 to 10% is what they recommended, but they said at least have 5 to 6%. Potatoes have 5 to 6% protein. If you eat only potatoes, you get enough protein. Rice has 7%. Watermelon, tarbooj has like 9%. There's nothing in nature which does not have protein. And we should not even worry about protein. 97% of the people in civilized society eat too much protein. Now the problem is, if you eat too much fat, your body puts it under your skin. So you maybe gain fat on the tummy, or you gain fat on your hips or on your thighs, So body can store fat. There are people who weigh 500 kilo, 600 kilo. There was one case where he was blocked in his apartment because the door was too small, he could not come out. They had to break the door to pull him out. There was a case that he came in the news 5-6 years ago. So we can keep adding fat to our body because we have a storage for fat. We can store sugar, glucose, because glucose gets stored in our muscles and in our liver. we can store about 2000 calories, roughly 1 day's worth of glucose in our body. But there's no way to store protein. There's no organ in our body which can store protein. So if you eat more, if instead of eating 6%, you eat 10%, the extra 4% protein has to be converted into fat. Protein has nitrogen. It has everything in nature has hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. It gets carbon dioxide from air and H2O, water, from ground. So water and air together make hydrocarbons or fat. Okay. The point to understand is if you want to convert protein into fat, you have to take the nitrogen out. So that nitrogen is very harmful. It comes along with hydrogen, which is called ammonia. There is a chemical ammonia, NH3. You all know ammonia. You know, ammonia is very toxic. So ammonia in our body combines with water and makes uric acid. And that uric acid crystals form in your body and go to your big toe, that story I was telling you. That is what causes gout. And a lot of people are now suffering from gout. So in olden times, the kings had plenty of food. They ate chicken and fish and prawns and crab and lobster. Okay. That's the food of rich people, the kings and queens and aristocracies. That's what they ate. And that's why they suffered from gout. Because all that extra protein could not be stored. So it had to be processed in the liver. Liver changes the chemistry. And then processed in the kidney. Kidney has to filter it. All urine has to come out of kidney. So what is happening in today's society is a lot of people are facing liver problem and kidney problem because you're overtaxing it. Okay? So you find a lot of people after the age of 70 going on dialysis machines. There are so many people who are waiting for a kidney transplant, okay, because they have been eating too much protein in their life. It's as simple as that. I mean, 60, 70 years ago, there was no kidney transplant, and dialysis was extreme. 1 in 1,000 maybe have dialysis. That's it. And those were people who were wealthy people who ate, you know, too much protein. So you must understand that we do not need protein. If you see any package which says 25 gram protein, you don't want to eat it. In fact, I will discuss a little bit later, you need to identify foods which are low in protein. Because when you fast, your body heals, whether it is Ekadashi fast or Navratri fast or Janmashtami or Shivratri. When we fast, body heals itself. We'll discuss it shortly, okay? Because in olden times, we didn't have food all the time. When we landed in a new place, there were a lot of fruit trees along the river. We ate fruits, and then the fruits began to dry up, and there were periods when there was no food available. When there was no food available, our body did detoxification. Okay, it converted dead cells into food. We ate our cells. We ate our dead cells, our damaged cells. This research received a Nobel Prize in 2016. Dr. Yoshinori. Dr. Yoshinori said, it is good to have periods of famine, no food, periods of fasting, because it's very good. The way we are fasting now, it has become a joke because we are eating whole day. We're saying you can have this, you can have sabudana pakodi, you can have apples, you can have the whole day. It has become a joke. That fasting does not improve your health. People are fasting maybe for religious reasons, and for religious reasons they wanted to make it easy to fast, so they do their vrat and they eat during the vrat. During fast, you should not eat anything, only water. And if it is a nijal fast, then not even water. Okay? Your body makes, when your body burns fat, the fat gets converted into two things, water, H2O, and carbon dioxide. That's all. So H2O you pee out, and carbon dioxide you breathe out. That is how you burn fat. Nothing else happens. All right. So similarly, there is a myth about calcium and dairy. People think if we don't take milk, then how will we get calcium? The thing is, calcium actually is not the strength of your bone. Calcium is very brittle. When you write with a chalk on blackboard, that is calcium. You can break it, it's brittle. Your bones become strong when you put pressure on those bones. So when you do like this, now your thigh bones and leg bones are becoming strong. Or when you do pull up, then these bones are becoming strong. Because there is a structure inside bone made of protein which gives you the strength. The calcium is there only as a deposit. When you drink milk, it causes acidosis, okay? And it removes some calcium from the bones to neutralize it. So the countries in the world where they consume maximum milk, they have maximum hip fracture. Maximum hip fracture. These countries are America, Canada, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. These 5 countries have maximum hip fractures. So we have a wrong thinking. So these are different myths I'm talking about, that we have a wrong concept. And we are doing the wrong thing because we don't know about it. There's another myth called exercise myth. A lot of people think, young people especially, you know, in 25 to 40 age group, 45 age group, that I go to gym every day. I work out. What can go wrong with me? You know, they feel that way. So they eat things, they eat meat and eggs because they think egg is good for you and cheese and paneer are good for you, you know. But look what happened to Shane 3 weeks ago, Australian cricketer. He was in his prime of his age and had a heart attack. Of all the people who die after their first heart attack, okay, I mean they're young people, not necessarily very old, but all the people who die after first heart attack, almost half of them were healthy. Their blood chemistry was fine, the doctor had no reason to believe because they were following this thinking that I work out in the gym, what can go wrong with me? So they ate unhealthy, they became overconfident, and that's why Shane died. And the last thing I have here, I just picked 5 as example. You know, I conduct a course. I start that course on 1st of each month, and I run it through 2 months. There's no charge for the course, okay? And I teach one thing at a time. You know, I write 4 or 5 posts, and then I attach some videos you can watch, 5-minute, 6-minute video, and learn about these things. By the time you finish the course in 2 months, if you are following everything, some people don't follow, some people find things as, I can't do that. They think they can do that, okay? But when they really try, it becomes very easy. So those who follow, they're off medications. They lose weight. I'll show you some testimonials. I showed you one. They lose 15, 20 pounds, and I'm going to have one testimonial here, and he'll talk about his life. I'll give him 5 minutes to talk about on that. So doctors tell you to take blood pressure medication, and you say कि मैं बस एक छोटी सी गोली लेती हूँ. I like to be safe than sorry. You think that medication is safe, and having higher blood pressure is sorry, you know, or having higher blood sugar is sorry, but taking a pill is safe. That is not right. It's the other way around. And I'll explain why. So let's go to the next slide. This is the slide I want you to remember. It's called J curve. So what it shows is that if you're, is there a pointer here?
This one.
Where?
There's a button.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, okay. So if this is your higher blood pressure, this is the low blood pressure, or higher blood sugar or low blood sugar, or high cholesterol or low cholesterol, okay? So that's the description. Now, this is your risk of death. The higher you move, the higher is the risk of death. We say all-cause mortality, death for any reason, okay? Because diseases are all connected, one disease to second, second to third. So the research has shown, and many advanced doctors have been saying it for some time, that we have gone overboard controlling our symptoms. And when we reduce blood pressure or cholesterol, we reach a point where our health is the best. If we reduce more, our death rate increases. So how many people here have blood pressure medication? Okay, so there are quite a few people. Now you are taking blood pressure medication. All medications have side effects. Okay, they're harming you in some way or the other that they have not told you. So doctors here will say you reduce, if your blood pressure on medication is, let's say, 120 over 80 or 124 over 125 over 85, you feel good that my blood pressure is so low, but not really, because you are somewhere here. Okay, this point is 140 over 90 for all those who are under the age of 60. If you're under the age of 60, and then this is, of course, nobody here should be, because people in India retire 62. I don't expect anybody over age 60. All right. Your target is 140 over 90. If it is more than 140 over 90, then only you should take medication. This point where the health is best is 140 over 90. Please understand. And for your father or mother, some of you may have them in their 70s or 80s, 150 over 90, they should not take medication. Please write it down and go back home and ask your, for anybody over age 60, 150 over 90 is the cutoff point. Don't take any medication up to 150 over 90. This is the most recent finding. Similarly, those who are diabetic, so there is a test we do, it is called A1c test. You are familiar with that? It gets done every 3-4 months. We call it HbA1c. It gives you the average of your glucose level over last 90 days. Okay, so it tells you where you are. Now, a lot of doctors reduced your A1c to like 6.5, 6.4. Just till I came to America only on 17th. It has been only 1 week. I met 2 people. One of my friend's wife, who was a class fellow for 60 years. Her blood pressure was 105 over 65. And she was taking medication, which is very bad for her. 105 over 65 is here, even higher. So by medication, she is reducing it so much. I said, just stop that medication. What are you doing to yourself? You're going to kill yourself. And if you go talk to your parents, or some of you who are taking medication, you see how much your blood pressure is. And if it is below 140 over 90, you are taking too much medication, as simple as that. That medication is killing you. You don't need that. So for HbA1c, this point, and I'll show you raw data shortly, this point is 8.0. HbA1c 8.0 is where your health is the best. Not according to Lalit Kapoor. This was the finding, and revised guideline was issued on March 5th, 2018. A very large body of American College of Physicians, okay, they issued that guideline. Now there are some other doctors, they are experts in diabetes. They say it should be under 7, okay, because if it is higher, then they will lose patients, isn't it? And then there's another expert, they call endocrinologist. Endocrinologists monitor your hormone levels. And endocrinologist says, no, it should be under 6.5. So today in the world, there are 3 specifications for diabetic people. One by American College of Physicians, which says it should be kept under 8. one by American Diabetic Association, ADA, which says should be kept under 7, and one by American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists, and they say it should be kept under 6.5. Obviously, they have conflict of interest. The endocrinologist has a conflict of interest. Half of his business will go away. People will not come to him. They say, mine is 7.5, I'm fine. Okay, and I've made some changes in my diet. I will stop taking milk and yogurt and cheese and reduce oil. We'll talk about it, okay? So that is what I'm trying to tell you right now, that you are taking medications which you don't need to take. Yes, if you are here, oh sorry. If you are here, okay, so if your A1c is 11.0, yeah, you need to take medication, or 10.5 or something. But you see, the point here is that this is as harmful as this. So if it is as harmful as this, why not stay here? You're taking less medication. You're saving money also. I mean, they have the same risk. Am I making sense? Yeah. All right. So please remember, take a picture of this, okay, if you want on your phone. And I will invite all of you to join my group. I'm going to start a new group on April 1, and I will share with Ms. Bidet, and she can share it through the authorities, that link. A link will stop on March 31st, so you have to join in the next 7 days, okay? All right, so let's go to the next slide. Now we will discuss the causes of thank you. Now we will discuss the causes of chronic diseases, lifestyle diseases, okay? There are only 5 causes, only 5 causes. All causes can be lumped into only 5. So the first cause is animal food and eggs, and dairy is also animal food. So what happens when we were evolving, we didn't eat too much meat. We went along because we didn't have tools. I mean, later on we developed bow and arrow or bhale se marte the, you know, when we discovered metal. Earlier on it was only a stone. So maybe you can catch a rabbit or kill a rabbit with a stone, or maybe a chicken, that was it. You can't kill a deer with a stone, or a goat or a lamb. So we were not big on meat eating. Meat also does not taste good when you cannot cook, which we did not. We didn't have fire for many years. So you try eating raw meat, it tastes terrible. Okay? So we only went to meat when there was no other food available. When there was other food available, we would rather eat apples and bananas or watermelon. They're sweet, they taste naturally good to us. Okay, or sweet potatoes when we are able to boil, okay, when we develop fire. So when body sees, what is inflammation? I want to explain that, okay. So only 5 causes, so let me take a few minutes to explain. Inflammation is when body receives something that it perceives a threat and goes into a defensive mode, that is inflammation. So I want to give you an example. Let's say you have come to work and your wife is home. I mean, when you get up in the morning, you hear newspaper guy come. So you look at him, yeah, newspaper fellow, fine, we know him. Then a little bit later, a hawker comes, kele le lo or santre le lo. So you know, your hawker roj aata hai. So you are comfortable, you're not scared, okay. Then somebody came, ki kabadi aa gaya, you know, raddi bech do or purane bartan kapde bech do. So these people are coming, you are not threatened, you are used to them. Because they come every day, every week, they come. If somebody comes and knocks on your door who is, you know, 250 pounds, 6 feet 4 inch height, and looks like a foreigner, somebody has come from some African country, and knocks on your door, and you have a little camera that shows, you say, "Pata nahi kaun aa gaya?" You are scared. Darwaza nahi kholna, chup raho, because you are scared. Or if you're going to come to the door, I mean, if you have, some people keep pistols under license, he'll put a pistol in his pocket and come, yeah, haan bhai, kya baat hai, you know, there's a hand in the pocket. So you get ready for a defensive posture. You follow me? You defensive posture. So when we eat these foods, these 5 foods, we are going in defense mode because we did not eat them for millions of years. So when you eat मूंगफली, your body loves it. मूंगफली तो हम लाखों सालों से खाते आ रहे हैं. जब when you eat मूंगफली का तेल, what is ये क्या आ गया? मूंगफली का तेल, ये तो खाली 10,000 साल, 10 करोड़ साल का तो 0.1% भी नहीं है. तो अगर आप अपनी किताब लिखोगे इवोल्यूशन की, तो लास्ट पेज पे, लास्ट पैराग्राफ में नाम आएगा कि हम मूंगफली का तेल निकालने लगे थे. फॉर ऑल दिस टाइम आपने मूंगफली खाई है. फॉर ऑल दिस टाइम आपने ऑलिव्स खाए हैं. ऑलिव ग्रो करते हैं, ऑलिव का तेल तो नहीं खाया ना. तो जब आपकी बॉडी में रिफाइंड फूड आता है, बॉडी गेट्स स्केयर्ड. शुगर केन खाया है, गन्ने खाए हैं हजारों सालों से, लाखों से. व्हाइट शुगर तो नहीं खाई ना. व्हाइट शुगर इज समथिंग न्यू, पिछले 200-250 सालों में खाने लगे हैं. इवन गुड़ इज न्यू relatively. Okay, so body goes into a defense mode and it is harmful to you. Refined food is harmful because आपने उसमें से फाइबर निकाल लिया. जब आप गन्ना खाते हो या एप्पल खाते हो, तो एप्पल you eat, it takes you 3, 4, 5 minutes to eat one apple. It has about 40 calories and it goes in with fiber. When it is digested, when it goes into liver, it takes time, what I'm trying to say. Like an apple juice when you drink, all of a sudden, one glass of apple juice may be 4 or 5 apples, and you finish it in 1 minute. So body goes into shock. कि इतनी सारी शुगर आ गई एकदम से. जब ज़्यादा चीज़ आती है, तो गिरने लगती है. See, if you ship grain from Punjab to Tamil Nadu, it has to travel whatever 2,000, 3,000 miles and is overloaded. So some of it will spill over on the highways. When you supply sugar cane, overloaded truck hoses, children come and take one out, okay? So if you started with 20 ton, by the time it reaches, only 19.5 tons are left. You spill it over. So similarly, this is very important to understand. Similarly, when you eat refined food, it gets absorbed quickly into the liver. And liver says कि ठीक है, इसको मैंने sugar बना के skin के अंदर भेजना है. But while it is sending it, it spills over. So it spills over in your liver. It is called, we now suffer from a disease called NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because we are dropping some fat in that liver. When it's going through from your heart, and the blood is taking it, going to all parts of the body, it spills it within muscles. So between your muscles, some tiny drops of oil have come. Okay, it is called intramyocellular lipid. Lipid means oil. Intra means in between. So or inside a muscle. I mean, so these things create fat, tiny fat drops in your muscles. Your muscle has a lot of receptors to receive insulin. Okay, insulin in your body takes a glucose molecule and puts it inside your muscle. And nowadays you have seen pictures of COVID, and they showed these tiny flowers coming out of the round thing. They are known as receptors. They receive. There are different receptors for different things. So what they do is they're open like this. When your insulin comes in, then they close like this and open from this side. It goes in. So the inside, the cell thing cannot come out. And then they close here and open here. That is how these things work. So inside material cannot come out, but the outside sugar can go in. So function of insulin is to take the sugar molecule and go inside the cell. But if the cell is clogged with oil or grease or fat, how will it go in? It does not go in. We call it insulin resistance. Okay? Insulin resistance is what diabetes is. because see, diabetes does not happen overnight. When a child who is 12 months, 15 months, 18 months old is weaned off mother's milk, sits on the dining table and eats what the parents are eating, he eats an egg. You give him milk. These are all inflammatory foods. Okay? So those inflammatory foods cause problem, and they block those tiny openings where the insulin should have gone in. So you have a cell, let's say that cell has 100,000 holes. I mean, I'm giving an example, I don't know how many different cells, 100,000, okay. So by the age of 2, 1,000 have been blocked. Now only 99,000 are open. By the time you are 40, 45, 50, 40% of the holes are blocked. Now when initially holes are blocked, your pancreas make more insulin, so it's not a problem because we have extra capacity. So if you're 25-year-old, your 20%, 25% holes are blocked, but pancreas are making more insulin and you're healthy, your blood sugar is healthy. Then you reach a point where insulin cannot be made anymore. Your pancreas cannot make any more, it is making to the maximum. And then you begin to see that your sugar level is rising. That's why you face diabetes when you are 50-year-old or 45, 50, 55. I was diagnosed at the age of 50, okay? So diabetes was a disease of older age. And most people used to be overweight. But the weight on the surface is not the problem. It's the fat which is inside. It is called visceral fat. Visceral fat is attached to your liver, attached to your kidneys, attached to your pancreas, okay? If some of you are meat eaters, when you cut open a goat, you find that the goat's liver also has some fat attached to it. Some of you who eat, well, I guess nobody eats steak here, but let's say you're eating bakre ka gosht. You know, I don't know you people, but let's say you are eating bakre ka gosht and there's a muscle, leg muscle. You see some tiny white lines. They are fat. Muscle should not have any fat. In fact, they call it marbleizing. Before they have Eid, they feed the goat a lot of corn. And that excess of corn causes fat to be formed. Because fat is tasty. Our body loves fat. So when you eat that meat tastes good because that meat has some fat inside. Same thing happens in our body. So our liver has fat. And when it increases, then it causes NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Till 20, 30 years ago, only alcoholics used to have problem with liver because alcohol does the same thing as sugar does. But now, even people who have never consumed alcohol, they're dying of liver cirrhosis, okay, because they're drinking a lot of soft drinks. That extra sugar is the problem. Your body can absorb sugar a little bit. When America became independent country 200 and odd years ago, in 1776, okay, 245 years ago, the average consumption of sugar was only 2 teaspoons per day. Now they're consuming 25, 30 teaspoons per day. And that's the problem, okay. So the same thing is happening here with processed food. So refined food and then processed food in which you have added other chemicals. Preservatives have been added. When your body sees preservatives, say, oh my goodness, what is this chemical? You know, there's some chemical called MSG. We go to Chinese restaurant, they put MSG in it, monosodium glutamate. The thing about MSG is that it makes your satiation mechanism go numb and you eat more, okay. That is what MSG does. So all these chemicals you add make your body go into the defensive mode. And that's the problem. So inflammation, alcohol is the same. Body has eaten barley or no, other grains, but the body was not used to. Millions of years ago, we didn't have alcohol. No, we did have 5,000 years ago, but millions of years ago, we didn't have alcohol. Okay. Second is the deficiency. So you develop some deficiency or the other. because you're eating food that your parents were giving you, that they were eating. So you go to different families, they have different habits. In many families, you will find they're eating cashews and almonds. Almonds, Indians love almonds. People write to me all the time, should I take 5 almonds every morning? Makes no sense. I'll come to that, okay. But the thing is, so if you're eating almonds and cashews but not other nuts, then things which are in other nuts you will become deficient in. So I give you one example to make my point. There's a nut called Brazil nut. Okay, has anybody heard of it? It's Brazil nut. It's quite big. It's about that big. It's very rich in selenium, which our body needs. And all you have to do is eat only 1 nut per week. Not every day or 3 or 4 nuts. Only 1 nut per week. It gives you enough selenium. So when we get accustomed to eating certain foods and not eating certain foods, so people they eat aloo, but they don't eat sarson ka saag or palak. A lot of people don't like palak, sarson. So they're not eating green leafy vegetables. So things which are in green leafy vegetables but not in aloo and paneer, you become deficient in them. So you need to improve that deficiency. That's why you need to eat green leafy vegetables. It's a very common problem. And green leafy vegetables release nitric oxide, NO. So our blood vessels have an internal layer of cells. They're called endothelial cells. And together we have 70,000 miles of blood vessels. If you put them end to end, they'll go around the world twice. If you split them open, it's round. If you split open and put them side to side, they'll cover 8 tennis courts. That much surface is there. And when we start eating unhealthy food, the eggs, the milk, the chicken, or fried food or oil, it causes inflammation, as I discussed, and your cholesterol comes and attaches, like you call it malham. Malham. You put malham on it. If a child slips and scratches his knee and some blood vessels are exposed, you put an ointment. Ointment laga diya. So that cholesterol acts as a malham inside your blood vessels. So wherever the malham has been put, that blood vessel will not release nitric oxide. Wherever the skin is clear, it releases nitric oxide. When nitric oxide is released, the blood flows very easily. When blood comes, your blood vessel, when heart pressure becomes wider and it shrinks again. So if you see under microscope, your blood vessels, you will see them pulsing 60 times a minute, once per second, if your heartbeat once or 1.1 time per second. That is how things work, okay? So I recommend people that please have lots of green leafy vegetables every day. And it's difficult to eat lots of green leafy vegetables, so make juice. When you make juice out of them, it becomes easy to eat them. Bill Clinton is under treatment of Dr. Colin Campbell, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn of Cleveland Heart Clinic. Bill Clinton was president of America under best of medical care. The best doctors were available to him. He retired in year 2000. 4 years later, he had quadruple bypass, 4 bypasses. In 2008, they put 2 more stents. 2010, they wanted to do another double bypass. At that time, his friend, who is a professor at University of California Medical College in San Francisco, said, Bill, don't do that. Don't go for bypass. Just go under treatment of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. What is the treatment? Caldwell Esselstyn does not give you any medication. He says, eat this much, 1 wrist, green leafy vegetables every 2 hours. Bill Clinton, for last 12 years, has been doing that, and he has had no heart problem. Caldwell Esselstyn took a group of 200 severely ill heart patients, and they were told to eat only plant-based food. So we call it plant-based and whole food, not refined or processed, whole food. Like I said, eat sugar cane, not sugar. eat peanuts. Peanut is whole food. Peanut oil is refined food. Sugar cane is whole food, the ganderi that you get, okay? You eat those ganderis. It takes time. This little bit of juice goes every time. So body loves it. But once you take a sugar cane, white sugar, body gets scared. So that's what we are talking about. Things are not that difficult. Eat everything, all 5 food groups and everything that is available. So all fruits you eat. Unnecessary people here tell you if you're diabetic, don't have mangoes, don't have bananas, these things. See, what happens is if a doctor has already told you that your disease cannot be cured, they tell you on day 1, diabetes, it cannot be cured. Diabetes is a progressive disease. That means it will keep getting worse. Okay? So they have already told, so what they say? Well, since we cannot reverse it, let's manage it. And they try to manage it by telling you, eat little bit food every 2 hours. Very bad advice. Okay? Every 2 hours you eat food, every 2 hours insulin is released, and you develop more and more insulin insensitivity. So the thing is, eat all the fruits, number 1. Number 2, as much as you feel like. Our body has a satiation mechanism. We know when to stop. After you have had 5 bananas, you'll say, I don't want the 6th one. Some people will stop at 2, some people will stop at 3. Who am I to tell you? Dietitian doesn't have to tell you only 2 bananas. We all are different, I told you in the very beginning. We all are different. Our gut microbiota is different. Eat as much as you feel like. When you stop feeling like, when you stop liking it, stop, don't take any more. Okay? But eat within a narrow window. You must eat only in daytime. I'll come to that you must not eat after sunset. Once the sky is dark, you must not consume any food. We evolved that way. We are living in the forest. We have no electricity. A million years ago, we sleep outside. In the morning, as soon as the sky becomes blue, before the sun has risen, the sky becomes blue. You know, you get up. So you get up maybe half an hour, 15 minutes before sun rises. When that blue light hits your eyes, it tells you subah ho gayi hai. And when subah ho gayi hai, your body operates on a circadian rhythm. 12 hours daytime, 12 hours nighttime. We have in our retina 5,000 melanopsin cells. It's the protein, okay, in each eye. That eye absorbs blue light. It is a good habit during sunrise to look at the sun, not directly at the sun. When sun is just rising, if this is sun, you need to look around like this at a 30-degree angle. You know, go anti-clockwise and then anti-clockwise. Then at 45-degree angle, clockwise and anti-clockwise, and then at 60-degree angle. There is a Upanishad dedicated to that, and we have forgotten about it. Our cultural heritage is so strong, but we did not pay attention. And a new concept has been found now, which they call circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is that we all human beings have a clock inside us. The clock is in our brain, in the center of the brain. And that clock runs, it gets tuned by looking at daylight. If we used to have a grandfather clock in our homes, every house 70 years ago had only one clock, even that also rich people. So you went to school looking at that clock. 7:30, you left for school. Your parents, your father went to office when he saw 9:30. The office started at 10, let us say. He went to office. Your mother cooked lunch whenever it was like 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So everybody is going by that clock. If that clock is slow, everything gets messed up. You reach school late, your teacher is mad at you. Your father goes to work late, his boss is mad at you. And your mother's food is not ready when children come back home because the clock is broken, is slow. Similarly, when our clock becomes slow or fast, then things go wrong. That's what I want you to understand. I don't have enough time to explain. The 2017 Nobel Prize was given to this subject. So what I'm teaching here is not Lalit Kapoor information. what I have learned from Nobel Prize winning people. They are saying it. But you don't hear about it because it does not help doctors become rich, or pharmaceutical companies become rich, or food companies become rich. So there's no interest. The media only covers people who pay them, who advertise in magazines. They write things which help them, which help doctors, which help pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies pay them for advertisement. All you see is food advertisement and pharma advertisement. Now the problem with food is the processed food. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. When processed food, if a food company is designing a food, they want you to eat more, isn't it? They'll make more money. They're not concerned about your health. They want you to eat more. So they hire PhDs in psychology. These people will have a test sample. They'll have 10 people waiting. They'll say, give them, let's say you're manufacturing potato chips. They'll say who is eating. So a formula, so there are 12 different formulas and they're testing on people and say, this formula they eat maximum chips. So they standardize. Now if you make chips at home, after you eat 10, 12, 13, you get tired. Isn't kuch meetha do? You get satiated. Your body knows when it has had enough. You are satiated. But when you eat a Pringle chip, there's a chip sold, it's an American company called Pringle. They advertise, they take pride in it, that you can't just have one. You open a box, you take one chip, you will start second one. You're watching some show or movie, soon the whole box is finished and you are not satisfied. I once went to, there's an ice cream place, very good, natural. Natural ice cream is a Bombay ice cream, and they make custard apple, which is my favorite. So one time, about 20 years ago, I bought a pint. This is when US election was going on in year 2000. And I started eating and watching the election engrossed. I never felt satisfied. I kept eating. I finished the whole thing. I was sick to my stomach. Next morning, I was sick, having loose motions. But I kept wanting more. So my body's satiation mechanism had been overridden by the design of that ice cream. So processed foods are bad because the things have been done to it that you will not know. So doctors put blame on you when you're overweight. They say you eat too much and you don't go to gym or work out enough. They very easily they put the blame on you. You are the one at fault. That you have diabetes is your fault. That you have high blood pressure, it is your fault. They never blame the food company, which is making the food which forces you to overeat. You are not the problem, the food is the problem. Once you start eating apples, you won't eat 10 apples. You will eat one, maybe 1.5. Or if you're eating kakadi or kheera or mango, it may be 3 mangoes. You're not going to have, but this food, you don't get satiated. So that's the problem with that, okay? So 2 things I want to discuss here about things that we don't drink enough water. That's a problem. Omega-3 and vitamin B12 and D. Vitamin B12 used to be found in soil. When we drink water of rivers, or hand pump water, there is vitamin B12. But now we chlorinate the water. In fact, it must be under your jurisdiction. I don't know. Does BMC control the water chlorination? It does? Okay. So when you chlorinate the water, it kills all B12. So there is no B12 available. And we don't walk bare feet anymore. Our body does not come in contact with soil. We don't work in the farms with bare hands and bare feet. So we are not getting any B12. So you must take B12 supplement. Only one supplement that these doctors recommend is B12. You can have one pill every day of 50 to 100 microgram, or one pill every week or 2000 microgram. Okay? Please make sure that you take that. A lot of people are finding out at the age of 55 or 50, 55, 60 that they're deficient in vitamin B12. because it doesn't come. If you're vegetarian, you're likely to be deficient in B12. Okay, so please take that. Now, as far as D3 is concerned, or D, it comes from sunshine. You need to be out. If you're only working in air-conditioned environment and there's no daylight coming in, you will not develop D. I don't recommend take D supplement. I recommend you spend at least 15 minutes every day in sun, half sleeve shirt, no cap, and just walk around, do your walk. It is enough for vitamin D. So these three, and now I'll talk about omega-3, these three are the only thing you need to be cautious about is these three, because it will not naturally happen, because you're getting municipal water. All your water comes from municipality. Okay. Now let's talk about omega-3 and omega-6, these two things. Our body makes fat. You eat even sugar, it converts into fat. You eat extra protein, converts into fat. Fat is your storage. So you don't need to eat fat. Body makes it. The only fat the body does not make is omega fat. Only fat. It does not make omega-3, it does not make omega-6, it does not make, the others also, but these two are most important. So you must eat some fat every day. But omega-3 is not easily available, and omega-6 is very easily available. Omega-6 is harmful, excess omega-6. Your body wants both of them in equal proportion, 10 gram, 10 gram, 5 gram, 5 gram. So one is anti-inflammatory and one is inflammatory, and they balance out. Now, the problem is that most oils that we eat, process, have a lot of omega-6 and very little omega-3. Now, butter oil, ghee has equal amount, but does not have enough. Okay. So my recommendation is, and I'll come to that, is that those of you who are healthy should eat only 2 teaspoons of oil per day, only 2 teaspoons, and only 2 teaspoons of sugar per day. And that should be either mustard oil, kachi ghani ka, call it, okay, or ghee. You can choose either one. The mustard oil after ghee has the best ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. We talk about omega-6 divided by omega-3, okay, and that ratio should not be more than 3, and mustard oil has 3. Body is sensitive to omega-3 because there's not enough in the nature. So if you're eating food which has 3:1 ratio, body will absorb it in 1:1, and you'll be fine. So eat some flaxseed, अलसी का बीज, 1 चम्मच, बड़ा चम्मच. गांधी जी clearly said, जिस दिन दुनिया में लोग अलसी के बीज खाने लगेंगे, उनकी सेहत को नुकसान नहीं होगा. Gandhi ji said that 80 years ago. Okay. So make it in your habit. Rest everything, no restriction. Alsi ka beej is very tiny. If you don't grind it, it just passes through. So in some kind of a coffee grinder, you grind it. You can put it in your masale daan and add it to any sabji you make, sambar, sabji, whatever you're making, upma, pulao, tahiri, anything. Or add it to your juice. So make a habit. Alsi ka beej, flax seed, very good. There's another seed more available in Western world, I don't know, it's called chia seed. Chia seed looks like tukmaria seed, okay. It just looks like tukmaria. When you have shahi faluda, they're tiny tukmaria seeds which have tiny eyes. Similarly, chia seed, very rich in omega-3. Then there is something called hemp seed, very rich in omega-3, and walnuts. These are 4 things. So eat 5 walnuts every day. Okay, 4 or 5 walnuts, and 1 chammach, bada chammach, alsi ka beej. So there are very few things. I am advising only 3 things about omega-3, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. When you eat peanut oil, there's a lot of omega-3 and very little omega-6. So it's inflammatory. You will be surprised to know that the number of people, the mortality table, your death rate, is same for non-vegetarian people as vegetarian people. Vegetarian people die at the same age. Their mortality data is same. Just because you're vegetarian doesn't make you healthier. And even vegan people have same mortality. Why? Because as you move from non-vegetarian to vegetarian, you start eating more oil, rich in omega-6, coconut oil, peanut oil, other kinds of oil. And as you move from vegetarian to vegan, you start eating even more oil. Okay? So that's the problem. Oil has to be stopped. Those who are sick, you stop oil, sugar, and dairy. Okay? These three things, assuming you're vegetarian. In 1 month, the disease goes away. The weight just comes off. So telling you to eat less is not the solution. You cannot eat less. It's against your human nature. Human wants to eat whatever it wants to eat. As simple as that. It is, but change the food you are eating. Eat only plant-based food and whole food. That's what my message is all about. Okay? And so this is excess of nutrients. I told you earlier, animal protein causes problem. Saturated fat causes problem. Sugar, processed food. There was a study done in 1967. Did I cover it? No. About two Indian doctors, Dr. Gopalan and Dr. Madhavan. They were in National Institute of Nutrition, which is in Hyderabad. It's the leading institute for nutritional studies. So what they did is they created two groups of mice, 30 mice in one group, 30 in another. And then they injected a carcinogen called aflatoxin so that they'll develop cancer. That was the idea. To one group, they gave only 5% protein, and the protein was from dairy, from milk. It is called casein. The protein in milk is called casein. So one group, they gave only 5% as calories of casein. To other group, they gave 20%. The group that gave 20% casein, they all developed liver cancer and they died. The group they gave 5% casein, they all survived and none developed liver cancer. It was a landmark study, okay? But we did not pay attention. We are consuming more dairy now than what we consumed in 1967 per capita. We are consuming more eggs now than we consumed in 1967. Now, one American doctor, his name is Dr. Colin Campbell. He's 88 years old. Today in the world, he's considered the leading nutritionist, #1 by far. #2 is much below him. His PhD thesis in 1957, he finished his PhD from Cornell University. His PhD thesis was that animal protein is very important for human health. Okay? And then he was assigned to Philippines. He was helping Philippine government solve the problem of malnutrition among children. His focus was how to give them more animal protein. He saw that 1967 study. It was published not any major big journal, some minor journal. And he saw that study and he said, that doesn't make sense. Somebody has made a mistake. It should have been other way around. So he wrote to the editor कि I think आप लोगों ने गलती कर दी है. आप लोगों ने data swap कर दिया है. You guys have blundered. I think he was very confident. So the editor got confused. He wrote to Dr. Gopalan and Madhavan कि I have heard from an American nutritionist and he's asking कि have you swapped the data? So they laughed at it. They said no. We also were surprised. We were surprised that 20% group died. We thought that it will happen other way around. The data is correct. So when Dr. Colin Campbell got the feedback, the letter back, he went back to Cornell and he did that study. And he found it to be correct. So he changed 180 degrees in 1969. Okay. Instead of giving a recommendation that eat animal food, which was his PhD thesis, this is something he had done in prior 15, 16 years, he immediately changed. And then he further did a study and he found out that the cutoff was not at 5 but 6. He did study 7, 8. Beyond 8%, the mice begin to die, the rats begin to die. So the cutoff point was 8%. So excess protein is very harmful, and that's what I'm saying here. Excess protein is very harmful. Excess saturated fats are harmful. Excess omega-6 is harmful, excess sugar and processed food. These are things that get added to processed food. They add things which they believe are safe, they say. So there is a term in America, and of course we follow America, GRAS, G-R-A-S, generally recognized as safe. The argument is that MSG, we have been eating it for thousands of years. They don't do any research to prove it, and the government accepts it. But these GRAS are very harmful. I talked about MSG for one example. Another example is dalda. Dalda is vegetable oil which has been hydrogenated. Okay? Once you hydrogenate it, add hydrogen to it, it becomes saturated. Saturated fat becomes hard at room temperature. Okay? That's why ghee is hard during winter. Maybe not here, I don't know, but if you live in Delhi and those areas, the ghee will be hard. That's why I say ki seedhi ungli ghee nahi nikalta, because it is hard. You know, you have heard of that. Okay. So dalda is very harmful. Right now, for all the food, if you were to ask me number one, what is most harmful, that is vanaspati ghee. In America, it has been banned 4 years ago. They cannot sell anything with vanaspati ghee. In India, it is still being used. And a lot of namkeen that you buy from Haldiram or Bikaner or others, a lot of it, you have to read to figure out, but has vanaspati ghee. Okay, it has not been banned. It is the most harmful. It causes cancer. It has been established. The second most harmful thing is soft drinks, okay, beverages. We got to cut it out immediately. All right. So that's what causes problem. And I told you the visceral fat in your stomach, in your liver, that is very harmful, because that fat releases certain chemicals which affect your other healthy cells around it. Okay? So to get rid of visceral fat, you have to fast. You have to do Ekadashi fast. And every 2 weeks when you do Ekadashi fast, those fat gets burned. Once a year you need to do Navratri fast. That fat gets burned. Most people are carrying fat that was deposited 50 years ago, because if you have never fasted, you have never burned the fat. So at the age of 16, you had put on some fat, it is still there. And sometime by doing chemical analysis, they can tell you that this is the fat when you used to eat arhar ki dal or whatever, you know, or you used to eat milk. Let's say you have given up milk for 10 years. Oh, this fat came from that time. They can analyze fat and tell you what you ate when you were 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So we do not fast even once. In olden times, there were times when we ate a lot. There were times when we didn't have food, so the body burned it, the fat. But not now. It just keeps coming again and again and again. Okay. So what I'm saying here is, this is important, Ekadashi fast, Navratri fast, and I said intermittent fasting. Every day you should not eat throughout the day. We eat, the way we eat is here. Here's an example. We get up 7 o'clock, we have 1 or 2 cups of tea which is made with milk and sugar. You're not able to see this, huh? Okay. And then we have some rusk. You know, rusk tastes so good. You dip it in your tea and you put it in your mouth. Oh my goodness, it tastes great. The way it crumbles in between your tongue and the palate. And some biscuits. 9 o'clock we have breakfast. So there are 3 things that have come in here. There is dairy, sugar, and oil, because these are made with oil. Okay. So 3 things are there. Here for breakfast, either aloo paratha or with dahi, poha, upma, whatever, and some sweet lassi or lemonade or tea or coffee. Again, you got milk, dairy, you got ghee, and you got sugar. 1 o'clock you eat lunch, dal, sabji, raita, that's your dairy, rice and some mithai. You got sugar, oil or ghee and dairy, 3 things. Here in the evening a snack, you got a samosa or ragda patty and tea or some sharbat. Again, all 3 things are there. Then some people, men like, well now women also like to have drinks. So with the drinks, they will have chips or namkeen or fried cashew. When I used to live here, fried cashew used to be favorite. So oil is there, okay, and of course your drink is sugar. Alcohol is made with sugar. So you got sugar there, you got oil there, and if it is fried, the oil is there, and the only thing is not there at this time is some dairy, okay. 9:30 dinner, chole bhature or curried vegetable, dry vegetable, raita, roti, some mithai. So you look at it, and then I have not mentioned at 11 o'clock at night, a lot of people drink a glass of milk. A lot of you tell your father-in-law or father that daddy have a glass of milk before you go to sleep. Very bad habit, okay? Because milk is bad, milk is harmful. I know you're going to find it very hard. That's the one thing you will find very hard, and I fight it all the time. But if you practice it for a month, you will notice the difference. Just for 1 month. Make alternate milk. Make milk out of almonds, peanuts, cashews, oat, soya bean, or coconut milk. Have those milks. Their milk tastes very good with tea and coffee. Okay? Oat milk tastes great. You will not know the difference. They make yogurt out of soya milk, out of peanut milk. It tastes great. There's a restaurant in this city that you should go to, and I have no connection, but it's called Ahar Veda. It is in Andheri. Their food is totally compliant with what I am talking about. When they give you raita, they'll give you raita made with peanut dahi. Okay? They don't use oil in anything. They don't use sugar in anything, and they don't use dairy in anything. So what happens, you look here, total, this is what you're consuming. So you get about 400 to 1,000 calories, which is 20 to 50% of your daily calories coming from 2 items, sugar and oil or ghee. And another 10 to 20% are coming from dairy. It was in everything. So total between these 3 things, 30 to 70% of your daily diet is from these 3 things. Okay? So more than 1/3 to 2/3 is coming from these things. So when you stop that and start something different, what different? These things. They all have nutrients. So I suggest people that yes, in the morning have 2 glasses of warm water before you brush your teeth, okay? And in the night time have a glass of water, warm water, before going to bed. But rest of the day, try to eat your water. Instead of having glasses of water, have cucumber. It's 98% water anyway. So if you eat half a kilo cucumber, you got about 2 glasses of water there. Or whatever you like, doesn't have to be one thing. Eat strawberries, eat grapefruit, melon, kharbuja. Tarbuja is 92%, 91% water. Tomatoes are 95% water. This is turai, squash, 96% water. So at home, if you're working from home, or even offices, I suggest that you give people free these things. Instead of giving them free soda, a lot of offices, I don't know this, they give you free Coca-Cola, free Pepsi-Cola, you know. They do things for their employees. That's very bad. Give them free watermelon. Cut the watermelon in your lunch hour, let them come and eat. They'll be less sleepy, they'll work better. I strongly recommend that to companies. And at your home, in the morning you wash your vegetables and keep it between bedroom and the other room you go, and have one separate for yourself, for your wife, for your husband, or every child. This is your plate. You must finish it by night time. And you put gajar, mooli, tomato, watermelon, grapefruit, whatever you feel like, papaya, and just tell them, because you have to eat 1% of your body weight in fruits minimum. 2% even better. Even diabetics, the diet is same for everything. A lot of people come and ask me, what should be the diet for diabetics? What should be the diet to prevent heart attack? What should be the diet to prevent arthritis? How can they be different? How will you decide? If they were different, how will you decide? Should I die of diabetes or should I die of heart attack? I mean, you'll have to, this we call it dharam sankat. You will have a dilemma. If the diets are different, you will have a dilemma. How will you decide? When you throw a party and invite friends, you will have a, for those who have diabetes, this is the table who have heart attack, this is the table who have asthma. Ridiculous. And you hear all the time social media, oh, if you have this, you eat this, if you have this, you eat this. It doesn't work that way. The diet has to be same for all the people. It's as simple as that. Here is another slide. This is from my home. This is what I make juice from. Okay? And I recommend, well, I recommend you eat them, but making juice is easy. Making juice is the second best option. That's why I wrote there. Okay? So yes, if you can eat raw, I told you Bill Clinton eats 5 times a day spinach, or mustard greens, or turnip greens, gajar or ke patte, shalgam ke patte. We throw away. We throw away shalgam ke patte. You go to a grocer, he takes them out, gives it to the cow, and gives you shalgam. Or chukandar, when you buy chukandar, chukandar ke patte is the best thing. He takes it out, throws it to the cow, and gives you chukandar. You tell your grocer कि कल से आना तो हमारे लिए पत्ते ले आना. उसके लिए तो zero cost है. Even if you give him 5 rupees a kilo, he'll be happy. He'll just bring all of them, and you make juice out of it. Okay. And this is my juice recipe. So these are those patte. This is called shard. This is about that big leaf. You know, leaves are good. We already eat what we call pator. You know, pator, you make it from arbi ke patte. Pator is arbi ke patte. Arbi ka patta itna bada hota hai. You wash it, you wrap besan around it, you boil it. Pator is very tasty. So we have been eating leaves, but not enough. Sarson ka saag, palak ka saag, methi, bathua. You put bathua inside your roti. Don't eat plain roti. Make sure there's something inside, either methi. I mean, Gujarati people eat fafla. You know, it has methi. Eat those. Put methi inside it. All right. So this is what I'm talking, and we are very close to finishing. So this autophagy is something I'll spend a minute about. Autophagy is eating itself. Our body, when we do not get protein, it says that there's a shortage of protein, it recognizes. So it recycles the bad cells which are dead or damaged. Let me give one example. You know, in men's shirt, the left flap goes on top of the right flap. Okay? If it is the other way around, it is not men's shirt, it is ladies' shirt. Now let's say some manufacturer made 1,000 shirts and they made a mistake. They're men's shirt, but they're other way around. You won't throw them away. You will say, let's recycle them. Let's make either some ladies' clothing out of it for girls or for little boys. So you recycle. So similarly, our body sometimes makes protein. We call them misfolded. कि folding गलत हो गई, mirror image हो गई. Okay, they are known as misfolded protein. They harm our body. So when you do autophagy, when you fast, for Ekadashi fast, you do once every 14 days. And after finishing dinner, the next day, you don't eat any food. You only drink water. And then very next day, the third day, you have normal breakfast. That is Ekadashi fast. So when we fast, we get rid of these things. You see people with a lot of wrinkles. Especially you see people in America at the age of 65, 70, the ladies are full of wrinkles. The wrinkles are the dead cells. When you go for fasting, I fast every week. Every Monday I don't eat anything. Monday only I eat dinner. And then once a month I don't eat anything for 48 hours, not even water. And once in 3 months I don't eat anything for 72 hours. And it is not difficult. The way the nature has made us, when you fast, you feel more energetic. To cover the same distance 1 mile, if you normally spend 100 calories, if you're fasting, you will spend 110 calories. It's body's way of telling you, hey, there's a shortage of food, you better go and find some hunt or go further away and find some fruits. That is how body works. Your brain becomes sharper. I mean, when Gandhiji used to fast, we all felt, oh wow, fasting. He felt good. His mind worked. What should I do next? Okay, he became brighter. We become brighter because to catch a chicken or a rabbit or a hunt or pick fruits, you have to be brighter. You have to aim better or climb the trees higher. So nature makes such. The only problem you have is you have certain addictions to tea or coffee and you get headache. We call them withdrawal symptoms. You got to get over them. Otherwise, people can't even fast for 8 hours. If they miss their breakfast or morning tea, by 11 o'clock you have a headache. You can't function at office. So you have to correct these things. Slowly, they'll happen. And once you start doing juicing that I talked about, it helps a lot way. Juicing can cure any addiction. Even if you're addicted to smoking, every time you have an urge, have a small cup of juice. It calms you down. When you have alcohol urge, have a small cup of juice. And have some discipline. And within, it takes 3 weeks to form new habits. Only 3 weeks, you develop new habits. So tolerate it for 3 weeks. Okay, but you will feel so much better. All right, so this is the last item. I talked about it, the circadian misalignment. So what happens is, I mentioned the daylight in the morning, it gets a signal, it's daytime, and it starts releasing cortisol hormone, which is the get up and go hormone, okay, and it reduces melatonin. In the evening, after sunset, melatonin goes up, cortisol comes down. Melatonin makes you calm down and relax and feel sleepy. And you sleep well. Don't get up to alarm clock. Okay? Let your body get up. And if you leave your drapes open, your body will know it's the morning time. It will get up at 6 o'clock or 6:30. Don't stay up late watching TV. The problem with all devices, TV, laptop, and cell phone, is that they emit blue light. It confuses you. Oh, I thought it was nighttime because sun has set, but this eyes are capturing the blue light. Maybe I was wrong. So body was reducing your melatonin, the cortisol, and suddenly says, oh, no, I think it's still daytime. It begins to raise cortisol again. And gets messed up. I gave example of grandfather clock. Things go haywire. Okay. So your sleep problem becomes 70% of people in civilized world have sleep issues. Okay. I mean, sleep apnea is an extreme case, which I had. But most people have sleep issues. They're sleep deprived because we stay up watching TV. Our body says go to sleep. You have an exam tomorrow, or you got to go to school or office, you have an important meeting, but there's a good movie coming. I said, no, I want to just watch that movie. Don't do that. It messes up you in bigger ways than you realize. So the last 2 things I want to cover here is, okay, physical exercise is important. You need to walk because your body detoxifies. We have a blood circulation system, and then we have what is called a janitorial system, collecting the waste. Wherever blood goes, there's also a waste collection. It's called lymphatic system. So there's lymphatic vessels all over, but lymphatic system does not have a pump like blood has. So it works on the movement. When we walk, there are nodes here and there are nodes here, and they suck the waste out. So if there is a strike of janitors or sweepers, see how difficult it becomes after a few days? All over the filth. You cannot walk, and that filth is rotting, and that air is smelly. So it's very important to keep your body clean, and you need to walk. I'm not talking about walking to build muscles, walking to, so that's why stay active. Walk 5 minutes every hour, one rule of thumb. 5 minutes every waking hour, or 10,000 steps a day. Get something, a lot of cell phone have an app, and you can see by the end of the day how many steps I have walked, and make up for it. So bring a routine. So that's what you need to do, okay? Now the last two items, emotional health and spiritual health, they are very important. When we give unconditional love to a child or a pet animal, our body feels good. Obviously, child also feels good, but I'm saying you be self-centered. You give unconditional love so that your body will heal. So make sure that you have some children around you, if not your own grandchildren. You know, our system was very good, the joint family, because at every stage in life, it took care of it. Now we have a separate, we all live separately. So maybe your neighbor has a young kid. Maybe spend 10, 15 minutes or go get a pet. And I know it's difficult in a place like Bombay to do these things, but you have to find your own way. When you give unconditional love, your body releases certain hormones which make you feel happy. And they help your health also. So mentally you feel happy, but even physically your body also feels happy. These are some new researches that are happening in last 20 years. Many people don't know about it, but our scriptures talked about it. The Gita talks about it. Upanishads talk about it. Okay? And the last is spiritual health. Spiritual health, a sense of gratitude, when you have a feeling of gratitude towards somebody, either a god, Rama, Krishna, Saraswati, or maybe your basketball coach when you were young, or maybe your grandfather or your grandmother. Think about that. Let the tears roll down for 10 minutes a day. That you pray is important. Who you pray to is not important. Pray to anyone you believe in. But the gratitude feeling is important. You know, Om Jai Jagdish Hare, aaj meeting ki jaunga. You know, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnadmudam. No. Calm down just for 10 minutes. And think of the person brings maximum sense of gratitude in you. And let those tears roll down. It's very good for your health. Okay, so I'll finish with this now. Most of the discussion is over. These are the 5 things I call 5 pillars of health. Food is important. Detoxification, we discussed that, keeping fast. Okay, you can do other things also, Shat Karma and all that. They're not that important. Fasting is most important. Walking and fasting are most important things for detoxification. Physical activity, circadian rhythm we talked about, that don't eat food once it's dark. That's the problem with India. We eat very late. Our body gets confused. Okay? And the research done was, it's an Indian doctor. This is a new field. Only last 13, 14 years it has come up. Dr. Sachidanand Panda. Is Panda Maharashtrian name? Sounds like.
Uriya.
Huh? Uriya, okay. Dr. Sachidanand Panda, short form is Sachin Panda, at University of California, San Diego, is doing a lot of work in this. So he asked 2 groups of people, just write to me. First he did it overall, some 10,000 people, and they would punch in कि मैं अब dinner कर रहा हूँ, मैं अब breakfast कर रहा हूँ. That's all they had to send a message. And he had a computer system that recorded. Okay, so and so had breakfast at 8 o'clock or bed tea at 7 o'clock. We all are eating for 16 hours from 7 in the morning till 11 at night when you take the last glass of milk. And we are fasting only for 8 hours. We have to reverse it. That's not how we lived when we were growing up. We got up in the morning, there were no pantries or refrigerators for food. The ladies and children went gathering fruits, and men went looking for some leftover meat. They didn't have the energy to kill. They were looking for some leftover meat, maybe a tiger hunt or something, got some bones which has little meat attached, or maybe they caught a fish. They came back by 9, 10 o'clock. They cooked a meal, and they called it supper, big meal. Okay? And then in the evening, they wrapped up the meal before it got dark, because you want to finish your chokka. Only last 150 years that we have light. Otherwise, we didn't have light. So we need to finish the chokka. So you must finish eating. You must eat your meals within 10 hours. That's what you're talking, 8 to 10 hours. Okay? All right. And then I discuss this. So we'll move on and wrap it up. This is what I talk about whole food versus processed food. Corn on the cob, bhutta is the best. Okay? Or hare chane, this is the best, because it has not been processed at all. Okay? Or matar, it is the best. Has not been processed. Or salad leaves that I told you about. Everything, all food. Okay, so then you make corn soup. You have frozen corn. You have bought a package from the store. It is also good. It has been frozen, a little bit processed, but it's still good. It is whole food. It has not been refined. Corn meal is okay. I mean, in America, they eat corn meal has been ground to जैसे हमारी सूजी होती है उस तरह से corn का. Corn flour, corn का आटा, मक्के की रोटी, very good. It's whole food. Eat it. Corn starch is also okay. You put them in soup and other things. They're only slightly processed. Popcorn is slightly processed, has been heat treated, but it's okay. Not the popcorn you get in a movie hall. They add synthetic butter into it. So that's not good. So these things are okay. Obviously, higher you are, the better you are. I mean, I don't know why we always make roti. I mean, why can't we eat 2 bhutta instead of 2 rotis? I find it tastier. At our home, we sometimes bring 4 bhuttas and have 2 bhuttas and some soup, and dinner is done. Somehow we have gotten accustomed to, I mean, in India, to make one dinner, one meal. How many bartan? I mean, you have patili for dal, and then a dhakkan for patili, and then you take a bagona, fry onions, and put tadka. So 3 things just for dal. And then you one sabji, another 2 bartan, second sabji, and dahi ka raita, and then roti, you're rolling it. So much work for one meal. Have moong ki dal ki khichdi. You put moong ki dal and khichdi and put some cut spinach into it. It tastes great. You know, that's what we do. We don't create these things with 8 or 9 dishes. Or put matar, gobi matar, aloo ka pulao. It tastes great. I mean, there are other dishes here also in India which are single dish. We somehow come to believe that if you're going to go to chapati and eat chaat, you know chaat is good because you lick your fingers. It's finger licking good. Tamarind ki chutney makes chaat. So they come home. I remember when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, once in a while my dad will take him to a place and we'll have samosa and gulab jamun. And then come home and then we'll ask our mom, khane mein kya hai? And then they started selling dosa. So we will go out and eat dosa, and we thought कि dosa तो snack है. फिर घर आके we'll say कि अच्छा खाने में क्या है? What nonsense! Dosa is khana. Even pani puri is khana. You know, because in pani puri you're putting some chole, you know, garbanzo beans, chickpeas, some boiled aloo, and then roti is a puri. Okay, I mean it's in the oil, but you have a budget. Have 100 pani puris. The pani of the pani puri is one of the healthiest thing you can make. Your dinner is done. So we have gotten to this feeling that snack is something different, chaat is something different. I used to think that I have 2 stomachs, one for chaat and one for khana. You know, it doesn't work that way. So simplify your life. All right. So now that this food on this side, cornflakes is processed. A lot of things have happened to it. Okay. So you should avoid that. And corn oil you should definitely avoid. It's all full of omega-6 and has very little omega-3. High fructose corn syrup. This is syrup made with corn, but that syrup is normally not very sweet. So they chemically change the structure of it. In America, and I'm sure in India also, all soft drinks you buy, Pepsi, Coke, Thumbs Up, they don't add sugar. Sugar is too expensive. They add high fructose corn syrup, HFCS. Very bad. All the cereals you buy, breakfast cereal, have HFCS. 80% of the packaged food in America have HFCS. Very harmful. Okay. I already discussed this, we discussed this. This is summary of what I talked about. You can take a picture of it. This is what you should eat and not eat, okay? It summarizes everything I have discussed. I gave a lot of explanation why, but this is simply what you need to do. And if you do this, your diseases will reverse. In weeks, they will reverse. Now, the thing is, sometimes some things are easier said than done. कहने के लिए बड़ा आसान है, करके देखो. So I want to give you some hints. बिना घी की सब्जी or pulao or khichdi, how to make that? You take some water and saute onions in it. So cook हो जाएंगे, you know, because they'll not turn brown or red, but they'll get cooked. And keep some nut butter with you. That's the key. You have to learn how to make butter out of peanuts. In the market you find will have sugar in it, so it's not good. How to make butter out of cashews, butter out of almonds, butter out of walnut, okay? So have some butter. So after sauteing onions, you put 2, because fat is okay, only oil is bad. I never said the fat is bad. If the family of 4, you put 4 teaspoons of cashew butter or whatever. Cashew is the safest, but peanut is also very good. And you keep stirring, and now you start putting your masalas, jeera, haldi, lal mirch, dhania, whatever you do, and then your vegetables or whatever you're making. If you're making pulao, put your rice and cook. It tastes great. But you're adding whole food, not refined food. That's the key. On sugar, if you start using date, khajur, not dry khajur, moist khajur, you know, majdul dates come. You make a date syrup and keep a bottle. Take out the pit and the skin and mix it on some kind of a pan, add a little water, little bit, and that is your date syrup. Add date syrup. Amazon sells you date sugar. Date sugar is nothing but whole fruit that has been pulverized tiny. So use date sugar, date syrup, that will help you. Or make dishes with some fruits. So make khichdi, oh not khichdi, pudding, tapioca pudding. So you have tapioca, sabudana, and you have coconut butter, coconut milk. You put sabudana in coconut milk, keep stirring it, then put a lot of raisins. Or lychee. It tastes great. It's the most popular dish at our home. When people come, they take 2, 3, 4 plates. There's no sugar in it, there's no milk in it. So you just have to learn new things, that's all. Okay. So this is what we are talking about. We are wrapping up now. These are other testimonials, you saw that, but people, they just within 2 months, they get off these things. And here, Mukund says, when an addition of flaxseed in my meal and my diet, my knee pain arthritis has totally disappeared. To me, it is nothing short of a miracle. Until I started reading your post, I had never even heard of flaxseed meal. A lot of people don't know about flaxseed. Okay. Nobody wants to sell it. It's so inexpensive. Nobody makes too much money out of it. They all want to sell you processed food because they make money out of it. There's no lobby for bhindi growers of India. No, the farmer, he's on the bottom of the hierarchy. Okay. So this is another person, Vipin Asija, okay, lost 9 kilograms in 3 months. Okay, he's 90% compliant. He's not 100% compliant. Lost 9 grams. Blood pressure came down to 110/70. Fasting blood glucose came down to 100 to 125. A1c dropped to 6, he stops the medication. Total cholesterol is 119, he stops statin drugs. All these things, I have thousands of these, honestly. Okay? I mean, I have gone through, and some of the people don't even write, they're shy of writing. Some are not good in English, they don't want to write because they think they might make some grammar mistake. But I have done more than 200 groups, and in every group, about 7, 8 people write and say, this is what has happened to me. That's where I get it from. Okay. I just do everything from my cell phone. So that's 200 groups times 8, that's 1,600 people. And about 1,000 of my people are doctors who are following me. And doctors are on 11, 13 medications because their friends tell them to take medication. They don't know anything yet. So this was like a small thing that there's a politics involved in food, you know. I mean, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. So food industry is into it for profit, not for your health. So don't have that misunderstanding. They want to maximize profit, so they want to make food which is irresistible, like Pringle chip. Healthcare industry, again, wants to protect those people. So they want to have guidelines which are very hard for you to reach. So their blood pressure, no, 120, 80. They don't want to tell you that 140 over 90 is okay. They don't tell you. Your doctor will not tell you. I'm telling you. You can go back and read what I wrote, okay, if you had taken a picture. Or if you join my group, I attach all the data that supports it. You can take it to your doctor and show it. This is what this person is telling me. Tell me what is wrong in this. Pharmaceutical industry, they just want to sell you medication. They love that the food is so bad because the worse is the food, the more sick people. The more sick people, the doctors are happy and pharma industry is happy. Their allegiance is to their shareholders who have invested in the company. They are not in the business of good health. Even in medical colleges, they don't teach you good health. They teach you medicine. When you talk about your daughter or son, oh, she is at Harvard studying medicine, or she is at Lucknow Medical College, they don't say she is studying good health. Does anybody say that? No. They're studying medicine. So they teach them medicine. They teach them how to mop the floor, how most rapidly. First slide I told you, the sink is overflowing. The focus is how to reduce the symptoms. That's all they focus on. They don't focus on causes. And the government is, of course, in the business of election. And the money comes from pharma industry. They have the most money, or food industry. And the doctors are richest people. So their campaign funds come from those three. So they are not going to criticize them. And the media, all the advertisements are paid for by either food industry or the healthcare, medicine. You look up open any magazine, or when you're watching TV, see whose ads are coming. They're either food ads or they're ads by pharma industry. So why would they write anything against that? So they always blame it on you. You're eating too much and not exercising enough. Yeah, that's all they want to do. They want to put the blame on consumer. We don't have a lobby. You know. So that is what that's called a politics of food and health. This is, I just discussed that, so I'll skip it. Industry, food industry is funding all the new research. The government does not pay for it. This is American data, I don't know Indian. In 2001, 41% of the studies were funded by food industry, and within 12 years, 92%. I don't know where it is now. So when they are funding them, when they are paying for you, research scholar, you don't write against them. You want another grant for another year. You have gone from India after graduation to work for a PhD program at Cornell. You're not going to write anything against the company which is funding you the scholarship, $70,000, $80,000 a year. You need it for 5 years to finish your PhD. So I give you an example of how data gets distorted. This gentleman, his name is Ancel Keys. He was respected in the government circle. During Second World War, he created a ration. Okay? So he had respect. He had a belief that eating more saturated fat causes heart attack. He did a study. It's known, you can Google it, 7-country study, Ancel Keys. And he showed that the countries which consume more saturated fat have more heart attack. So US government 50 years ago established new guidelines based on his research. They consume less fat, less saturated fat, okay? Consume less saturated fat. When he died, in his mansion in Beverly Hills, they found a lot of information. His daughters gave it to the university. Here's all the paperwork. They found the study had 22 countries. He conveniently removed 15 countries to make his point. It was wrong, it was flawed. So then government changed the policy again after 40 years of wrong policy. And when they changed the policy again, they published it on the cover of it. Now this statement is not correct, okay? Butter is still bad, maybe not for that reason, but the media wants to advertise it. What happens is when you print a magazine, there's something called reprint. If you want an article, they will charge you $5, $4. They'll send you one article. Cover will be the issue of the magazine, and inside the 3 pages will be that article. So a lot of pharmaceutical companies and food companies are always lobbying. They want to get article published which is in their favor. So how do they do it? So if you are editor, just imagine you are editor and you are working on an issue that will come in June. So March, April, May, June, 3 months. And there are 4 articles. One says ki bhindi is very good for you. And one says ki bagan ka bharta is good for you, you solve heart attack. And one says butter is good for you, okay, because Ansel Keys had been lying, and something else. Now what the lobbyists will do will go, the lobby for the dairy industry will go say, this is your choice, आप editor हैं, आप decide कीजिए. लेकिन अगर आपने ये वाला publish किया, तो हमको 10 लाख reprint चाहिए. 10 लाख reprint at $4 per reprint, 40 लाख का, this is a bribe, but it's not called bribe. अब आप एडिटर हो, आप कहोगे कि ले चलो बोनस अच्छा हो जाएगा. ये हमारा क्या जाता है, हमें तो एक आर्टिकल छापना है, एक इशू में हेल्थ के ऊपर हम ये छाप देते, आपके सामने छप किया. Now the dairy industry goes and gives it to all the doctors, all the influencers. See, dairy is not bad, butter is good for you. That is what goes on. Please understand, that is what goes on. Okay, here's one more testimonial and then I wrap up. Here's Raj Shah from IIT Bombay. He had a BMI, 186 pounds. He's now 154 pounds after after only 17 months, January, okay, 18 months. He was on 7 blood pressure medications. I have not heard of anybody. They just could not bring his blood pressure down. Kept trying one way or other, 7 blood pressure medications. Okay, and he is on no medication today, and his blood pressure is 130/85 without medication. Okay, and he knows that this is safe because 140/90 is the cutoff. So now he is aware of it, and he told the doctor, I'm in good range, I don't want to reduce it to 120/80. He was diabetes, his A1c was high, he was taking 15 milligram. And his A1c was 6.4 because he was seeing endocrinologist. And endocrinologists want to keep it below 6.5. And he's on no medication, and his A1c is 5.4 without medication in 18 months. Cholesterol, his cholesterol was 205 and he was on 1 medication, like Lipitor and those kind of, they call it statin drugs. No medication, cholesterol is down to 181, my down to 119. This is another medication, 1200 milligram, no more medication, another medication, no more. Acid reflux, he also had that Gerd thing. He would take Pepsid, very bad, okay, and no medication. Sleep apnea, he was suffering from same thing as I did. He is still not off that, okay, but he should be very shortly. He had erectile dysfunction. A lot of men face that after the age of 45, 50, okay. They don't talk about it, but it's the same problem. It's your blockage of your blood vessels, and you need a lot of blood in that part of your body. So it causes that problem, but he stopped medication, no medication. Your sex life improves. You know, a lot of people after the age of 60, 65 stop having sex. There's nothing wrong with having sex. And when you follow this diet, you'll find that you are at 75 age, your desire goes up and your performance goes up. Both are things. Libido goes up, and both men and women. There's nothing wrong with good sex between husband and wife. That's what our culture says, okay? So when you do this, all these happen. I won't go more into testimonial, and these are different chronic diseases. They all get cured except for Pneumonia. Pneumonia is not a chronic disease, it's an infectious disease. So, okay, so all leading causes of death get cured. This is what I was talking about, J curve. This is the raw data for J curve for diabetes people. Those of you who are suffering, watch it. The low point is at 7.6 and 8.2. This is where your health is the best. If you go lower to 6.3, that is as bad as about somewhere here, which is 9.7. I mean, my cousin had a reading of 5.8, so if you draw a curve, she was here, which is as bad as 10.4. And the doctor kept giving her more medication. All right. So this is what came in March 6. This is actual guideline. It says clearly patients with type 2 diabetes should be treated to achieve an A1c between 7 and 8, not any lower. Now, if 7 is as good as 8, why do you want to keep it 7? Why not at 8 or 7.9? It is available. You can Google it and show it to your doctor who is treating you. These are different guidelines. This is politics comes. So American College of Physicians says between 7 and 8. I made a mistake here. American Diabetes Association keeps it under 7, and American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists want to keep it under 6.5. They don't want you to get off medication. They got you. This is what happens when you are plant-based. All your blood vessels are absolutely clean. When you are vegetarian and you're having that dairy, then you have a certain deposits, and so diameter reduces, the blood pressure goes up. You know, when the smaller the pipe size, you have to have higher pressure for flow to remain the same. This is a meat eater. He has even narrow. This guy would have a blood pressure of maybe 170 over 110. This is the guideline, actual guidelines I told you. It was revised in 2014. Less than 60, normal is 140 over 90. Over 60, the normal is 150 over 90. Take a picture of that and show it to your doctor who is treating you for blood pressure. You probably don't need that medicine that you are taking, but let doctor decide. Another thing we know is that BP readings are taken wrong. When you go to a doctor, when he takes your BP, the BP reading is wrong. They did a study, and they said in a recent study, November 2017, called Systolic BP Intervention Trial, SPRINT, it was found that the proper measurement was 12.7 millimeter lower than the routine office measurement. The reading they give you in office was higher by 12.5 points. So you have a double whammy. First of all, they're taking high reading, and then they're using a lower cutoff. You can never get out of their grip. This is my last slide, concluding remarks. Causes of all chronic diseases, chronic is same as lifestyle, are diet and lifestyle. So when we change diet and lifestyle, the disease reverses. It's as simple as that. It's easier than you think. Big changes versus small. Yeah, if you make a big change, you will notice the result within 5 days. When you notice the result, gee, I lost 5 pounds or 3 kilos, you feel motivated. Nothing succeeds like success. So that's the advantage of making big changes. When you make small changes, then you develop doubts कि अच्छा मैं 1 महीने से तो कर रहा हूँ, खाली 2 पाउंड नीचे गया, पता नहीं, ललित कपूर आया था, कुछ कहा था, लेकिन मेरे को नहीं हो रहा. Because making small changes. Just try 1 week. Start making that juice. That juice, 2 things most important, 3 things. Juice, 3 glasses a day. 1 glass before your lunch, breakfast, 1 before lunch, 1 before dinner. Second thing, start eating dinner early, not after dark. Reduce your eating window from 16 hours to 8, 9, 10 hours, okay? These 2 changes, if you make, you will see big difference. Just these 2 changes. Other changes are also important. And low-hanging fruit, I mean, is that tell your father-in-law to stop that glass of milk. The things we do thinking that they are needed, and we hate doing them, but we do them for health. If they are not healthy, you stop them tomorrow. Don't do that anymore. Okay, so some things are low-hanging fruit, just at least do those. And better safe than sorry. I talked about it earlier, that safe is slightly higher blood pressure is safer, but that pill is sorry. Don't take that pill. So what I do is I have a Facebook group which will start on April 1st. If you are on Facebook, you can just note it down and join that group if you want, if you like what I'm saying. I don't charge anything. And I have a WhatsApp group. If you're not on Facebook, write to me one line, attended your seminar at Bombay, and send me the link. I'll send you the link, and I'll give link to authorities here, and they can forward that link to you. Thank you very much. And I'll take questions. Anybody, any questions? Okay. Yes.
Only thing, sir, I would like to, I'm scared of stopping the medicine.
Yeah.
I have not been to doctor, but still I find it is a bit scary to stop the medicine.
Well, that's the problem. The thing is, you are listening to the doctor, and doctor, I told you, will tell you the wrong specification. He will say, no, I like to follow AACE, American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists. But he doesn't want to lose patients. He doesn't want to reduce his income. So goal is to empower you. You don't feel powered enough. You are not yet convinced. That is what is going on. So when a doctor says, no, blood pressure should come down, I showed you J curve. You go back and read about it. Think about it. Once you feel powered, you will stop it. The fault is nobody's. Only you are having difficulty making that decision. A lot of people ask me, write to me, shall I stop medicine? I tell them, I cannot tell you that. That'll be illegal. I'm not a doctor. I cannot advise you on medication. My goal is to empower you, and you get empowerment by learning. It's the education that empowers you. Okay? So you need to just think about what I said. If it is recorded, you can watch that video second time, third time. When I got off my medication, I started watching these videos for 5 hours every day. I was retired. I had all the time. That's how I learned these things. I created one group for my batchmates. They started asking me questions. And one thing led to another. So you have to empower yourself. And you're not there yet. That's the problem. I mean, you feel good. I'm sure you feel more energetic. But that's the situation. Any more questions? Yeah. Come here. I can't hear you well.
Sir, my doubt is, you said that every day we have to eat at least 1% of fruits daily. But my doubt is whether we have to eat mixed fruit or a single fruit.
Anything. Always rely on your body. If you don't like two things together, don't eat them. Your body is the best judge. These people who tell you, eat millet, there's a lot of news I see. Oh, wheat is bad, eat millet. Who are you to tell me? I love wheat, I'll eat. If I don't like wheat, I won't eat. So if the two fruit don't go, let's say watermelon and lemon don't go together. Kharbuja and watermelon. Kharbuja will go. Something, apple and watermelon, you don't like it together. So have apples in the morning, watermelon in the afternoon.
I say, I'm asking at a single time whether we can eat mixed fruit or a single fruit.
That's what I'm answering. There's no such guideline. It is you. If you feel like having 3 things but not the 4th one, don't have it.
Okay.
To think that somebody should tell you is wrong. In wilderness, nobody tells these goats, no, today you eat these 2 grasses and on Sunday you eat these 2 grasses. Who are we to tell them? They know. There was a study done. They put children age 18 months to 42 months and they gave them food and nobody told them what to eat. It is called self-selection. And they found that after 6 months, 9 months, all their blood chemistry was normal and healthy. It showed that when you are young, you can self-select what you like. But when you grow old, you develop certain acquired tastes, which are not intuitive. Tea and coffee are not intuitive taste. Beer is not intuitive taste. You consume them for different reasons, not because you like them. Because you want to feel like grown up. You are 10-year-old, your brother is 18, he takes beer, and you want to grow up like him. So when he's gone, you take a beer. Say, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Why does my brother take it? You know? So understand, rely on yourself. All these things that they print in media does not apply to everybody. So just because you have anecdotal evidence, oh, I had this and that cured my headache, then you write down, oh, I had this and it cured my headache. Just because cured a headache doesn't mean it will go cure everybody else's headache. You are different, everybody else is different. Any other question?
So actually, one of my nutritionist friend has said that you don't eat a mixed fruit at a single time.
No,
I don't know why.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is wrong. Who is he to tell you? It is wrong. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It does not apply to everyone. You have to figure out what works well for you. If something doesn't work for you, don't take it. Okay? These people are telling gluten is bad. Gluten is not bad for everybody. For some people it is bad. They should not take it. As simple as that, you know. So don't let them confuse you, you know. And please, another question. I'll take a picture. I like this table setup, so if I'll take a picture of this. And this building is also very nice. So let me just take a picture. And all right, I got it. Beautiful building. All right, another question. Anybody?
Some people may be having in mind that those who are diabetic, you have mentioned it earlier, but since if we have a solar eating window and then they have a longer fasting period, then do they have any problem? Because some of them may have this.
Fasting window longer works best for diabetes, because I showed you that you have these receptors, they get clogged with fat. If you have a ball, there's 100,000 holes, and every year 1,000 holes get blocked, and it works like this. When it receives it, opens it up. So if it is blocked, now that fat which has blocked these holes, 40% of the holes, how will that fat go away? If you have a lock in your house and some naughty kids come and put wax inside that lock, you cannot open the lock. You cannot go inside. That's what is happening. So what do? You try to melt that wax. And when you melt it, it opens up. So how do we get rid of that fat? You are always eating. So your body is never in what is called fat burning mode. It's always burning sugar. Fat burning mode is called ketosis. When you run out of sugar, you start burning fat. So you have to fast. You have to do intermittent fasting, 16-8, 16 hours no food. Every day you're burning a little bit of it. On Ekadashi day, you're burning a lot of it. And Navratri day, last year I did a 1,700 people Navratri fast in October, September, October. 2 people cured their diabetes in 9 days. 4 people were off hypertension, blood pressure medication, just in 9 days. Because you're now, when you're fasting, you're burning that fat cell. It's very interesting. It happens in every cell. It's not in one location. When you are short of food, every cell is getting diluted. So if you have, let's say, 10 locks, and the day temperature becomes 51 degree, and that wax is dissolving, it's not the only front door wax will dissolve, not the back door. Every cell, the fat is dissolving. So that's why intermittent fasting, Ekadashi fasting, Navratri fasting is great for diabetics. But you must reduce medication, something you tell your doctor, because if you don't reduce medication and your sugar has gone down, gets too low, then they say, I have some sugar. That is ridiculous. You're taking medicine to lower the sugar, and then you're telling have sugar because you took too much medicine, as simple as that. So I said, better safe than sorry. Having medication is not safe. Let the blood sugar go rise a little bit. It's not going to kill you. The doctors I follow tell that a blood sugar after meal, postprandial, of 250 to 300 once in a while is fine. Your goal is not to manage your disease. Your goal is to reverse your disease. And the guidelines are different. If you want to manage, the doctor says eat every 2 hours, no mangoes, no chiku, no banana. He thinks he's smarter than your body. He thinks he's smarter on the 20 doctors which are sitting in your body telling you every minute what to do. No, it's wrong. Your body will cure. The diabetes goes away, honestly. In 3 weeks, you saw these people. I give testimonials. I can show you more testimonials. Okay? So please understand. Any other question?
What's your take on the Mediterranean diet?
Mediterranean diet.
Huh?
What's your take on Mediterranean?
Okay, so thing is in Mediterranean diet, they eat lots of fruits. The olive oil is very bad in Mediterranean diet. So have olives. Mediterranean diet will be much better if instead of olive oil, there was olives. As simple as that. Okay? And in Mediterranean diets, they have some fish, a little bit. Don't take that fish. So the Mediterranean diet, see, nobody has done a plant-based whole food diet. It's not recognized. So they say Mediterranean is good. Of course, Indian diet is bad because it's full of oil and dairy. So they have roti, which is good, pita bread. They have chane ki things, a lot of things, hummus, which is good. Don't add this sesame oil in hummus. You can make hummus without sesame oil. And don't have olive oil. So Mediterranean diet is good. But without olive oil, without fish, and without that sesame oil in it. Rest is all what we are talking, plant-based whole food. See, in my diet, there's no restriction. Anything you like. Now, another thing is have variety. Who knows what is missing? I gave an example that Brazil nut. Have one Brazil nut per week. So eat all the nuts you like, but add one Brazil nut per week. So try to eat, I recommend people, so you have 7 things. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, dalein, and anaj, and spices. There are 7 things. Have 7 types of these things every week. Okay? So have your favorite one. There are 21 meals. Out of 21 meals, 11 meals, have your favorite one. If you like arhar ki dal, have arhar ki dal. But on other days, have little chane ki dal or masoor ki dal. So have variety. Who knows what is missing? But they all have different ingredients. And I already talked about 9 knowns. There's some materials we don't even know about. So by diversifying it, you are having an insurance that I've eaten everything. Okay? So you have oatmeal. So right now you're eating wheat and rice. Have oatmeal once or twice a week. Have corn, bhutta, once or twice a week. Okay? Or make bhutta ki roti if you want. Have quinoa once or twice a week. Okay? And other grains. Okay? Huh?
Millets.
Millets. Have millets. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Other questions?
Are we in India at this stage, the average Indian diet, what we are eating, we are having sufficient protein, do we need to decrease it or increase it?
Okay,
Protein.
Huh.
Because in Indian diet, are we having enough protein?
It has too much protein. I explained to you.
Increase the
Problem with the Indian diet is it has too much protein. Because even watermelon has 8% protein. Rice has 7%. Only potatoes have the right amount. Anything spinach, 30% protein. The problem is not that you are low in protein. That's what I'm trying to point out. Problem is you're eating too much protein. You should be thinking, how can I reduce protein? Go back home and tell your wife, मेरे को साबूदाने की खिचड़ी हफ्ते में एक बार जरूर देना. That's what you're supposed to eat during Navratri fast. Sabudane ki khichdi. Okay? So the problem is we are eating too much protein and too little fiber. We've got to change it. Start eating more fiber and less protein. When you eat more fiber, you will go to toilet more often. I mean, in Africa, they go to toilet. You see a lot of animals. They go to toilet every meal. You see a baby. A young baby goes to toilet after every time you feed the baby. It's natural for human. So it's okay if you need to go to toilet twice a day or even 3 times a day. It doesn't matter. You will poop so much, you'll be surprised. Because you're eating fiber. Most of people are not eating, but 70%, 2/3 of the things did not have fiber. I showed you that chart. So if you're not eating fiber, you're not going to poop. As simple as that.
Thank you for your session. I just wanted to ask one question. So in this room, we also have a lot of leaders who influence the way the city functions. Are there some examples around the world where governments have gone out of the way to improve the law or improve the way the city should function? Because we have people here representing health department, shopping establishment.
I'm not familiar with that. All I can say is that in America, Silicon Valley, many companies offer free lunch, okay? And because like Apple, Google, Facebook, okay? And they are serving healthy food. They are now going the mode serving healthy food, okay? Because the food is free. Now, yes, a lot of policy decisions can be made at the government level. I'm hoping I'll come across and meet some people. Because obviously you want to subsidize ghee. Ghee is better than peanut oil. So if you want to change people's behavior, you need to tax peanut oil and use that tax money to subsidize mustard oil and ghee. So you need to subsidize fresh produce, apples, give them a subsidy and put tax on dairy. This is how government implements these policies. In America, they're doing the wrong way. The hamburger patty that you eat, you get it for $1.50. It actually costs them $7, $8. And the vegetarian meat patty, what's called Beyond Meat, you must have heard, Impossible Food, Beyond Meat. Two companies are making now hamburger patties which are vegetarian. They're made from butter. And they cost $7. There are restaurants in America where if you order a normal hamburger with meat, it is $7. But if you want it with vegetarian patty, it's $12. Because the meat is being subsidized. It's all politics, okay? And vegetarian food is not subsidized. Nobody subsidizes bhindi or tomato. Poor farmer. But those who have huge farms and they grow corn or soya bean, they are being subsidized. But politicians want to do favor not to a small farm. I'll maybe give you 5 votes. You do a favor to a big farmer, he's going to give you $1 million of contribution. It's as simple as that. Any more questions?
You have mentioned about avoiding refined food and processed food, and we must eat green vegetables and fruits. That's a must-do thing. But my question is that a lot of companies are selling organic foods and other options in the market. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'll tell you, the thing is to understand is there's organic food, there's non-organic food. When I give talks like this, or people who join my group, they immediately run to find organic things. Of course, it is better. But how much better? If you change your dinner time from 9:30 to 7:30 and don't change from organic to our non-organic, you're doing much better. So there's a magnitude of things. Okay? When you're buying buttons and the button costs 50 paise, you negotiate कि मैं 45 में दे दूँ. But when you buy a TV, he says this TV is 45,000 rupees. You say कि नहीं, ये नहीं कि 50 पैसे कम कर दो. You start talking thousands. कि नहीं 45 नहीं, हम 43,000 देंगे. When you're buying a car, he says it's 7 lakh. You say नहीं 7 नहीं, 6.5 देंगे. You're talking in lakhs. So question is, what is the magnitude? The benefits of all the things I discussed are different magnitudes. Okay? So you need to focus on bigger things. I get asked these questions. कि पानी खड़े होके पिए कि बैठ के पिए? Nonsense. Even there's no conclusive research, first of all, and if there's a benefit, it's that tiny benefit. लोग कहते हैं बादाम छील के खाएं कि ना छील के खाएं. Okay? Doesn't matter. खाओ तो walnut खाओ. So your question is like that. Agree, organic is be better, but non-organic is also good. If your organic is not available, stop eating. People worry about pesticides, wash them properly, okay? But eat them. So somehow they're going in the wrong direction. I can see that. They're making blunders and then here trying to do nickel and dime. You know, we call it nickel and dime. you're negotiating on something very small. Don't do that. Think a bigger picture. Cut down your eating window. Add green juicing. Remove dairy and egg. 3 things done. You have achieved 70%. Even if you don't do Ekadashi fast, every day at least you're doing eating window. So that fat in your insulin receptors is getting dissolved every day because you get some autophagy after about 14-15 hours. The bulk of it happens after 24 hours, but it's happening. At least you're burning some fat every day. That's the idea of intermittent fasting, is that every day I must switch from sugar burning mode to fat burning mode. Now after switching, when you are breaking your fast, depends. If this is 14:10, you are maybe switching only for half an hour, 1 hour. But if it is 16:8, you are switching it for 3 hours. If it is 18:6, I follow 18:6. So I eat my brunch. Instead of 3 meals, I eat 2 meals at 12 o'clock. So 12 to 12:45, I have hearty meal. Okay, it starts with green juice, large bowl of fruits. Okay, I always have 7-8 varieties of fruits. And then whatever we are eating, idli sambar or any other dish, dal chawal or rajma chawal. And then 5:30 dinner, you feel hungry, have your dinner, wrap it up by 6 o'clock, done. Any more questions?
If I don't take my morning tea, what will happen? Actually, it doesn't matter. If you do it, in a 2-3 days time, because people think that if I don't take my morning tea, my head will ache. Nothing of that sort. You can do that, and so you can maintain 16-hour fasting window. I think that helps a lot. And it is possible. It doesn't take much to get at least.
Okay, so I wanted him to tell his story. He has been my student. Maybe take a few minutes. Can you give me that? Come.
See, I got to know about Lalit. In fact, I was a year junior to him in IIT Kanpur. But we didn't know each other over there, even though we were in the same department. I got to know of him through a friend of mine in Delhi. And since my wife was not particularly in a very good shape, she had asthma and basically stomach problems. So she joined the group first. And then because she was not able to understand all the technology behind what he was saying, I was made to join. And I reluctantly joined it at that time, saying that, okay, now my job is to sort of read it and explain it to her. So when I started being an engineer myself, when I started looking at the logic of what he was saying, really I felt that it was absolutely spot on. Now, my background was, I was a meat eater. I mean, I'm from UP, so my parents did not even eat onions and garlic, but I was in boarding school throughout, so therefore I used to eat meat at least 3-4 times a week, alcohol every day, okay, and all the other things, cheese, very fond of cheese, traveling, a lot of traveling was involved in my job, so I love food of all the various countries I used to go to, and so the net result of all this was that I was about 95 kgs, okay, at my peak. When I started this program in June of 2020, I was 95 kgs. Now, weight loss was not the issue. I was having blood pressure medication for the last 30 years. I had sleep apnea. I had already got my left knee replaced. The knee replacement surgery had happened, and right knee was sort of, developing. It was maybe very initial stages, but one could feel the slight twinge which was happening. So when I took this up, in 3 months' time, I gave up my blood pressure medication. In 6 months, I dropped 24 kgs in weight. Okay, and sleep apnea has gone. The knee is perfectly all right. I walk 10 kilometers a day, or every day virtually. So it has been an extremely good story as far as I am concerned. In my wife's case, because she was not following it as religiously as I was, for whatever reasons, she has also improved. Her asthma has improved. Okay? She has the stomach problems, I would say, are 50% better. She's not yet out of it. We've been doing it for the last 2 years, but that's primarily because, as you said, not having made the dramatic changes which are required. If you really want to reverse, you need to follow this diet 100% for at least 6-8 months, and you will find once they are all gone, you can do a little bit of cheating once in a while here or there. That's what my take is. So for me, it has been a real revelation and a lifestyle change completely. Because now I am off alcohol, off. It's not that I have given up anything. There are times when I will have a glass of wine now and then. It's not a religious thing that I have to give up anything. But having reversed all these things, you can do. And the green juicing, the biggest, I think, take on this is the investment which you have to do is in a good juicer. That is something which, if you want to start this program, that is the only investment which you have to make. The rest is all free, as he said. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll wrap up with that.
So I think on behalf of this group, I thank you so much, Lalitji, for being here, and I think you have gone ahead for almost 2 hours. You have been sharing your thoughts, and I think everybody has a lot to take away from today's session. So I hope you would like to join this group also, and he will share a link, because you can't just have one session. You will, after some time again, all our regular habits will try to overpower. So better to join the group so that you hear about it and you will follow that discipline. And once you are there, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get into the practice. Once that is done, I think the rest is peaceful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you all.